Alright, so, when last we left our intrepid party, the Mogu have been searching for some kind of artifact up here in the mountains. So let's kill them horribly. And I do mean horribly. When the two great empires reunite, the world will crumble around them. A ritual took place here, and from the looks of it, it wasn't successful. Among the abandoned items is a book lied open. The text on the pages is foreign to you. Use more abilities. Ma'am, I am playing a rogue, a subtlety rogue. I am regularly using 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 abilities. Regularly. I do not know how to use more than that. The more do not exist than that.
What news? Stay safe.
Ah, very good. The relic works. It appears there's more going on in the Valley of the Emperors than I anticipated. It is crucial we figure out why the Mogu are opening tombs.
Be careful.
These spirits must have been released when the tombs were open. A death is not final for the Mogu. Instead, death is merely a stopover on the path to a new body. Spirit binders use a foul magic to transfer spirits from one shell to the next, which makes sense when you consider what they're built out of. Hang on, someone broke the bot again. I think we all know who that was. Lunaris! No,
White tiger, guide your steps.
What have you found?
Stay safe.
Well, this text is curious indeed. It appears to have been written in the Ming Dynasty, but some of the symbols are wrong. I don't think the Mogu wrote this, though it is oddly close. I will take some time to translate. Keep moving, see if I can find anything else.
White tiger, guide your steps.
Given the artifacts found on the altar, I would guess they were attempting to perform a spirit binding ritual. Most of the text involving spirit binding were locked away in the Tomb of Shadows. Perhaps we will find the answers we seek there. Look for anything that might help us. You'll find the tomb on the first rise, closest to the ritual altar.
Be careful.
Sure, yeah. Although, in my defense, I didn't start that. Yura said something. But anyways. So yeah, let's talk out Subtlety Rogue for just a second. My most basic attack is Gloomblade. What this does is it does shadow damage, which completely bypasses armor, actually doing magic damage like that, and it's a builder. You'll notice that by itself it only generates one combo point unless I get a proc like I just did, in which case it generates 2. I can build up to 7 combo points, at which point I can burn them. I have to live for a second because I am not that unsquishy, so forgive me for going through the cycle for a second here, just so I can live for a minute. There we go. Okay, so, sorry about that. So that's my basic bread and butter ability. You may or may not notice that it just got replaced by another ability. I'll talk about that in a second. So I forgot, there's actually 13 abilities I'm using. It also applies Find Weakness if I crit. Find Weakness does exactly what it sounds like. Number 2 over here is one of my first spenders. This is a bleed. I happen to have a build which makes it so my bleeds no longer do bleed damage, but instead shadow damage. And I have lots of other abilities that have synergies with shadow damage, but also I just do more shadow damage in general. This is Eviscerate. This is my basic spender. This spends all of my combo points in order to just hit the enemy with as much damage as possible. Just one giant ass hit in the face. If I happen to... that's just by choice, Playteful. Sorry, I don't really do that on purpose. I mean, actually there is a tactical benefit to it. It buys you milliseconds of not getting hit, so if you're starting to take too much damage, if you jump around a bit, you'll take slightly less damage. It's a habit I've been in for a long time. I don't want to go too much into it. Anyways, point being. So, Eviscerate. Big hit. Spender to do big hit. However, if you also happen to already have Find Weakness on them, then we'll also do additional damage as Shadow. Remember, we have lots of things that benefit from doing Shadow damage. Speaking of, this is our final spender over here. Secret Technique. Now, this spender has a cooldown, 1 minute. It creates shadow clones of yourself. You and your shadow clones perform a dual piercing attack on all enemies near your target, doing physical damage to all nearby. Now, this is a gigantic hit and an AoE spender. It also has its cooldown reduced every time you spend a combo point. So, for example, if I open with Secret Technique as my first spender, and then do a Rupture, and then do an Eviscerate right after that, which I can do for something I'll talk about in just a second, then this cooldown goes immediately from 1 minute to 46 seconds, or whatever that is. Just to use this quick example. This is one of my weird builders. This is Gormaw's Bite. It's relatively cheap. It has a decent cooldown, 45-second cooldown. It does a gargantuan hit for a builder. It does about the damage of most of my spenders, despite being a builder. It also makes it so my next 3 spenders cost no energy at all, making them completely free. Now up here, we have Shadow Dance. If I pop Shadow Dance, for all intents and purposes, I am stealthed. I have other things that also allow me to stealth without stealthing, but this is the thing that gives me total control over, I want to hit the stealth button while in combat. So while in stealth, I gain all the benefits I have from being stealth, which is quite a few, a lot of these. Everything you see highlighted there is something that benefits me if I happen to be stealthed. So I gain the benefit of being in stealth, and it increases all my damage by 30% just flat off the top. I have 2 charges of those, so functionally once every 30 seconds, which, given the fact that it lasts for 8 seconds, gives me 48 second downtime. So really good ability there. This is Symbols of Death, 30-second cooldown. I have a lot of talent, so I didn't actually go into Symbols of Death build. That's over here on the left, all of this stuff. But it's still useful for me because it just straight up gives you 40 energy and increases all damage done by 10%. It's really good to use before you do the combo burst attack I've mentioned a few times. Slice and Dice. This is another spender, but it's a buff. The funny thing about Slice and Dice is it increases your attack speed, which is nice and all, but is only really useful for longer fights. You don't see me use this all that often, only if it's something that's real, like a boss fight. Slice and Dice also doesn't benefit in terms of buff for more combo points, only in duration. So a little bit more strategic choice about when you pop Slice and Dice, rather than most of the other abilities which universally benefit from going all the way up to 7 combo points. This is Shadow Blades. This is a 90-second cooldown. Why does it keep doing that? It's the 3rd time I've lost chat. And then it's like, and then we're welcome to the chat room. What the hell are you doing, Twitch? Oh, I bet you Trump's streaming right now, isn't he? Anyways, so Shadow Blades is a 90-second cooldown. And it does additional damage as Shadow, blah, 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 blah. But the main thing about Shadow Blades is any of your builders build 7 combo points instead of whatever number they normally would. So you pop this, and you can go straight from 1 Gloom Blade to a Secret Technique, 1 Gloom Blade to a Rupture, 1 Gloom Blade to an Eviscerate. And because you're pushing through these so quickly, you can actually hypercharge most of your combos, which is what I refer to as the burst. I got a couple other things on top of that. The most obvious is Crimson Vial. This is my heal. It's relatively basic. It's a hot with a 30-second cooldown. Thistle Tea restores my energy and increases my mastery while doing it. You might think, what the hell's my mastery? My mastery is this right here. Increases the damage done by finishing moves. That's my spenders. So, I want to pop a Thistle Tea before I do my big combo with Shadow Blades, a Secret Technique, Eviscerate, and Rupture. I think that's most everything. There is one last caveat, and that is this ability down here, Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike is only usable while in stealthed, but, as you're probably aware, I have an ability that allows me to act as if I'm in stealthed. So, first and foremost, it allows me to teleport to the target I'm hitting, so it's a closer. It also does 25% additional damage, and it does tons of physical damage, and it does a line strike. It also generates 3 combo points as a default, regardless of everything else. So, even if I'm not doing the big combo, there's a benefit to trying to hit my stealth thing, that's Shadow Dance, in order to increase my combo generation for normal combat via Shadow Strike. And I believe that's everything. I'm not talking about things like poisons, which I need to reapply, I just noticed. Poisons are buffs, put simply. You can have a lethal poison and a non-lethal poison. I've got Sprint. Sprint is invaluable. I also have talents that improve Sprint. I've also got Shadow Step. You don't see me use Shadow Step very often. Shadow Step is much more useful in a high-intensity environment like a raid or a mythic. Well, let me run you through a typical rotation. So we'll go ahead and walk up to this guy. We're going to start with Shadow Strike because we're starting from stealth. So we're going to immediately start with 4 combo points. Because we got a proc. We're going to pop that, which is also going to generate a thing. So we actually have 9 combo points right now. So we can pop that on that and have a buff for the next minute or so of combat. We're going to pop this, do this, immediately get a full combo point thing. We're going to do the bleed on this and then ignore it. Move over to this guy immediately. Pop this, pop this. It's hard to keep up because of the speed we're going with. We're going to do this here. Let's go ahead and pop our shadow things. That's going to make him die. The bleed finally kills him with only 1 additional hit. We move over to here. Pop this. Boom. Big hit. And then... Oh, God, they're dying too quickly. Boom. Big hit. Boom. Big hit. And then we could do, say, this. Go over here. Pop this. And then do 1 more big hit. I think we're out of time. Nope, we got another one in this. We got another one in us. We could keep going. We could keep it rolling. Okay, now we're out. But now we can pop Shadow because we, our cooldown's up because only 30-second cooldown. We're getting really low on health. Oh, Jesus. Oh, jeez. Okay, we're going to pop this. We're actually going to run for a second and just recover. We're going to pop this. Wait for a second. Wait for a second. Pop this. And we're done. Holy crap. I'm sorry I didn't say all the ability names while I was doing that. That was a little fast. But that's subtlety in a nutshell. I did blow all of my cooldowns in that particular barrage of fights in order to kill the, what was that, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 enemies I just killed. Whew. Yeah, I will say one thing. I've talked about this before. One of the most fundamental differences in FF14 combat to WoW combat is that FF14 combat is, most of its loops are very linear. In WoW, it's all about priority, right? There's no such thing as you have to hit A in order to buff B. It's more like you can hit A, which will then buff B or C, depending, right? Let me use another random example of this. Shuriken Storm here is something you've only seen me use a couple of times. That's because it's my AoE. But Shuriken Storm is an extremely useful ability for generating combo points if you're in a group, because it generates combo points based on target's hit. So... in other words, in a single target environment, it's almost useless to use because it's just going to generate 1 combo point for 45 energy. Whereas this is going to generate 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on procs, for 40 energy. But if I'm fighting a boss and he's got 2 adds, all of a sudden that's 3 guaranteed combo points for 1 usage of Shuriken Storm, right? So, boop, we go and pop that, generate the 3 combo points, stuff like that, right? That's also not necessarily true, because I could also pop Shadow Dance and then use my Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike itself, of course, also has a guaranteed 3. Now, Shadow Strike is also a single target, which means it can benefit from proc, so it's 3 to 5. You get the idea. One of the things I love about WoW combat is there's a lot going on basically all the time. I admit that I've been playing this game for 20 years, and so I have this bad habit of sort of assuming that everyone knows what I'm doing, and I feel kind of silly for pointing it out, like I just did. I apologize for that. I will try to do better about trying to explain what the hell I'm doing, at least once per class. We still have a few classes we haven't really poked at yet, including Demon Hunter and Paladin. And I forget what else. No, 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 no! There we go. We're just going to sneak in here, so we don't have to fight any of these things. Sneak over here, don't mind me. You know what? Sure, let's pull, where is it? Sap on the bar. So Sap pulls them out of combat. For, looks like 60 seconds. So I can just be like, hey, he can't aggro me because he's functionally out of combat. However, if he takes any damage, then he will be immediately, removed back to the combat table. Oh, absolutely, Blade Javal. It does make sense. It's... I don't have a word for what I was going to describe there, so I'm just going to end that sentence there. It makes sense. End statement. Now, this guy's riding my way, so we're just going to sap him. Now, you can only have 1 sap target at a time, but the moment you sap someone new, it just removes the sap of the previous guy. And if you're still in stealth, which you notice I am, no issues. We just walk right on through. But yeah, I'm rather fond of subtlety. I was actually hoping to set up an assassin build, but I had to notate all of the allocations from Patreon for the last couple of days. WoW combat is also... How do I explain this? Depending on the difficulty of the content you're doing, it's at the higher end of content, obviously you need to be very efficient and know exactly what you're doing. Duh. But for most of the content, it rewards you for paying attention to being on the ball, but doesn't necessarily penalize you for not. One of the most common terms we've referred to is face rolling, right? And, it's so many, Evo, I couldn't possibly ask you to. Face rolling is obviously, it's kind of an insulting term, but it refers to something relatively specific. The idea is if you take your face and just roll it all over your keyboard, then nothing would be noticeably different about your rotation. It's the kind of thing we refer to... You ever play fighting games, especially in the old arcade? Button masher. Right? Same concept. In other words, if there is no skill applied whatsoever, if you're literally just smashing the keyboard, you could have the same overall results. It's worth noting that there are absolutely points in WoW's history where certain classes or certain specs have been face roll specs. Paladin is a good example of that at several points in its history. I would like to think, and so far this has been true with all the classes we've covered so far, that most of the classes have done a good job of pulling away from face rolling. If I wanted to, I could just be like, blah, 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 but I'm not going to do a whole lot of damage if I do that. And that is going to be, that I'm going to be punished for just mashing buttons down here.
Hello? Can you hear me?
You have done them a great service, Silverfur. It is a cruel fate to be stuck between the living world and the afterlife.
White Tiger, guide your steps.
These tablets recount the history of the Mogu and the Zandalari alliance, dating back to the time of the first Mogu Emperor. It looks things they've rekindled their alliance, but why now?
Be careful.
The Mogu have been scattered and sparse in number for many years, millennia, actually. Their purpose in the valley makes sense now. With this many restless spirits, they can build themselves an army using the Guardians buried in the tomb. Combined with the Zandalari forces, this could be devastating. The Tomb of Secrets houses elite warriors called the Emperor's Shield. They must not be resurrected. You will find the tomb on the highest rise to the southwest.
Stay safe.
Oh yeah, FF14, it is absolutely penalizing if you just face roll. I can't think of a single class in FF14 that doesn't want you to do things in a very specific order. Like, even the casters still have comboing to some extent or another. Yeah, button mashers in fighting games are actually really frustrating. And you might think, why, Lore? Well, part of the biggest problem with fighting a button masher is you don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So you can't really adapt unless your reflexes are extremely good. So you either have to use cheese strats, you have to try and roll with it, or you have to have very, very good reflexes. Congrats, Linarif. Yeah, Black Mage is a great example. And yeah, they also might get lucky. It's one of the reasons why the term has such negative connotations. It's because it's not just cheap and skillless, but it actively removes the ability for the other player to be able to deal with you. It stops being a fighting game at that point, right? Yeah, exactly, Blade to All. It's ridiculous. Most of the major tournaments I used to be aware of and participate in, back when I actually hit the arcade scene, when I was a teenager, expressly forbid it. And it's really obvious when someone's button mashing, because there's no artistry, there's no decision. It's just like your only goal is to hit as many buttons as quickly as possible. Sorry, I'm just doing something really quick here. I meant to do it earlier and I spaced, and that's my fault, and I'm stupid. And worthless and terrible. I'm so terrible I haven't even finished the paperwork yet. Never mind setting up the assassin spec. What is wrong with me? Look, all I'm saying... Yeah, no kidding. Where am I? The only region that I know of that still has a truly strong arcade scene is Japan, and even there, they've slowly been shutting down some of the big ones. Oh, hey, Rainstorm. Most players start as a button masher. It reminds me of an old saying, noob is not an insult, it's a statement of fact. It's someone who is new to the game. Never do it, Evo. Never! I was going to go somewhere with that joke, but I can't think of anywhere to go with it. Don't mind me, I'm just getting in position for something. I meant to do this off camera, but once again, I'm dumb. Ignore that giant skull in front of us. Ignore it. Ignore it. Okay. We're good. What, do you want it right now, Evo? Tell you what. Acknowledge that you're an amazing, awesome person. And artist. I'll think about it. I don't know. I've heard it on good authority. That's from zero to hero. Wow. Wow. There it goes. Whew. Worrying me there. Yeah, fighting games are kind of unique when it comes to genres. Like, in most games, if you pulled off that kind of a strategy, it's not going to work. Imagine facing someone in an RTS and you just build random units and attack random locations, right? That's not going to work out great. You didn't say what I asked you to say, though, Evo. Okay at art and as a person. I don't know. Okay doesn't sound like awesome. Like O and R are similar sounding vowels. Let me explain to you in Steve's voice what it means to have the difference between an O and an A. So there's an O, okay, woo, it's like the woo. But then there's an A, where the mouth goes, A, wee, like this, okay? They're different, you see, they're different. I know it's very complicated here. Oh, gosh, that's not something I was ready to deal with. Okay, let's pop. Oh, Jesus. Okay. This. Okay. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm getting murdered. Yeah, let's go ahead and get a bleed on this thing. It's okay. I can bleed him. Okay, we're okay. That's just... a Nintendo beat-em-up. Have I reviewed any beat-em-ups? Ah! There's another one. Where are you coming from? Oh, Jesus. Hey, new bleed. Hey, oh my God, Evo, you're fired. You're fired. Notice it's a Zandalari who's summoning these, by the way. Okay, let's get another stack of the buff going. Interrupt that. Pop a cooldown. Hit this. I don't want to pop that just yet. Okay, now we're going to pop it. Boom. Right in the face. My death will not stop this storm that's rising. The Thunder King is coming. I actually don't know where the term NOOB comes from. Like, obviously it's a screw-up of noob, which refers to someone who is new at a game. But, like, why the specific edition of the double O's?
Yes, I can hear you.
The Mogu and the Zandalari intend to resurrect the Thunder King. We cannot let this happen. The Thunder King will rain destruction on this land with his return.
Be careful.
Our only hope is to find the Thunder King's remains before they do. He must be buried in the Tomb of Conquerors. Getting to his remains will not be easy. The tomb will be no doubt defended by guardians and other unfriendly surprises. Once inside, we need to figure out where his remains have been placed.
Stay safe.
Oh yeah, there's one other thing I've been doing that's not quite to this game's benefit. And by this game's benefit, I mean your benefit. I play out here. Now, I'm never going to apologize for this because this helps me to play. What playing out here does is it gives me situational awareness, which is something I value a great deal in this game, because there's usually a lot going on in a lot of different directions. However, out here, I'm pretty sure all of my abilities, with the possible exception of, like, Shadow Strike, maybe, all look the same, right? If I were to pull it all the way in here... God, that's just... Ugh. Well. Okay. Do we want to deal with air, fire, or lightning? Fire it is. Oh, we're fine. We're fine. We went right by it. Just sneak over here. Do I even need to fight this guy? I might not need to fight this guy. Oh, you think of Smash Brothers Brawl, maybe? Which is a fighting game. Not a beat-em-up, but a fighting game. Alright, let's see what it looks like up here. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Let's pop this. I was thinking about his health here. I don't think I need to hit too many cooldowns here, so we're going to go and just do our big hit right there. And yeah, just pull him down immediately. Which is funny, because I'm totally not that kind of person, Creamy. I will admit, I used to be a raid leader. But I haven't been in an extremely long time. That counts as a beat-em-up. Okay. I will not argue that.
I think Lynareth is completely insane and also literally Hitler.
Okay, we're cool. Okay, I've repaired the tablet. Now what?
Hello.
Have you figured out where the remains are?
White tiger.
We are fortunate they haven't gotten to Lei Shen's remains yet. The Zandalari will not give up until they have what they want.
Stay safe.
The Thunder King was a vicious emperor, and with the Zandalari at his side, he was unstoppable. His return would surely return this land to turmoil and misery. You must locate his remains and take them someplace safe. The Tablet of Thunder should help you figure out how to access his tomb.
Be careful.
Okay, what do we got here?
Under Kun-Lai thunder sleeps. The storm long spent their rests. But blood of brother kingdom keeps alive the dispossessed. By Zandalari blood, he will be taken. To Zandalari voice, he will awaken.
Secure the remains, brothers. The Thunder King shall live again.
Okay.
What news?
They will need to move the remains to a secure location. We must go after them.
White tiger.
We need to figure out where they're taking the Thunder King's remains. It won't be possible for them to resurrect him in the Valley of the Emperors. We need someplace remote and secure. Find your way out. Look for information concerning the location of the remains.
Stay safe.
So, first, before I answer Lynareth's question, I'm just going to scooch out here. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Hey, what's up? Oh, jeez. Gosh darn it. Right, you. Go away. Give me a buff so I can deal with the rest of you. It's important to note that these are not... Well, these are not the Zandalari as a polity. I know that sounds strange, but if you've been paying attention, and I know you haven't, these are the Zandalari we dealt with during Zul'Gurub and Zul'Amani. Back in Cataclysm. This is what I like to refer to as the Zul Confederacy. Now, that's my term for it. But it is a confederation of various troll tribes on behalf of Zul, who is a prophet. He's a really good prophet. He has extremely accurate visions of the future. And so, as you might imagine, he has garnered a lot of people to his banner. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We should be fine. Okay, we're fine. So this is that group. This is the Zul Confederacy. This is not the Zandalari proper. He is the gatekeeper. By all accounts, he is a better prophet than Velen. Velen has vague visions of possible futures. Zul looks at something and says, hang on, move this a little bit to the right. That way they'll trip on it when they go by it later. That's Zul. Now, there's a big asterisk to that, because of course he's a BFA character, and so naturally, BFA has all kinds of asterisks all over the place. But still, he has some cool moments, and we'll see several of those on camera. Okay, so now to Lunaruth's question really quick here. A beat 'em up. Oh, God. Oh, shoot. No. Okay, hang on. I gotta kill quick. No screwing around. Pop some buttons. So, what was I saying? Beat 'em up. Beat 'em ups are usually typified. Obviously, you're playing. They tend to be co-op. It's a very common thing that's a co-op. Beat 'em up is where I die. Apparently, I'll try Blade. It's really hard. I'm not gonna lie. I feel blind up here, but I'm gonna do my best. A beat 'em up is one or several players fighting together, usually in mini arenas. Beat 'em ups typified the concept of the Red Room. A Red Room is a thing where you have to clear a screen in order to progress. So, for example, if this was a beat 'em up, I'd have to kill every enemy in this room in order to be able to go past, because the screen won't scroll, or the passway is blocked, or there's literally a red door there. Devil May Cry is where the term red doors actually comes from. So you get the general idea from that. I'm gonna pop some cool stuff. These are wrecking my face. We're gonna move up here while that's still active. Hit this. Hit that. And hit this, and we're just gonna wreck some face. We're just gonna wreck some face here. Faces need be wrecking. There we go. Beat 'em ups also usually, while they have a similar overall control scheme to something like a fighting game, for example, hold, back, attack does different type of attack. Again, see Devil May Cry for a good example of that. The overall style of combat is almost universally different. Fighting games are nearly universally one-on-one, and also tend to have a lane concept. Even in 3D fighting games, like if I'm going over here, like, hey, what's up? And if I'm fighting my enemy, it's still 2D, for lack of a better way to phrase that. There's no third dimension. I can only go towards my enemy or away from my enemy. Does that make sense? Even in something like Dissidia, which is a fully 3D game, there is towards the enemy and then there's away from the enemy. They even added special abilities just to be able to accomplish that. And yeah, and in like a beat 'em up, it's usually more like a lane-based thing where you kind of go up and down and attack on different things and stuff like that. So yes, Double Dragon, beat 'em up, Street Fighter, fighter game. I'm pretty sure Blade Default. I can double check. Spell density. Yep, I have spell density cranked.
Yes, I can hear you.
This is dark Zandalari blood magic. Once we're done with the map, it should be burned. The map indicates they have headed for the coast, just outside a tiny fishing village called Zauchin. The villagers there may be able to help us find the Zandalari. Just have to hope the village is still standing.
Be careful.
The villagers of Zauchin know the coast better than anyone in Kun-Lai. If the Zandalari are hiding under one of the islands, they will know. Mishi will take you as far as the Emperor's Path. I will go and speak with the elders. Rise to the Whisper Clouds. Follow the path to Whisper Cloud's rise. Shin Whisper Cloud will help you reach the village.
White tiger guide your...
Do you mind? I'm talking to someone here.
What news? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, then there's brawlers, but that's a little bit different. Correct. Devil May Cry and games like Devil May Cry and God of War, Bayonetta, those are all still functionally beat-em-ups. They're definitely an iteration on beat-em-ups, but they're still beat-em-ups at their core. I would argue Yakuza's qualify there as well, but Yakuzas are sufficiently distinct to kind of be their own thing. So most Street Fighter games, most fighter games have some kind of vertical movement, where you gotta just jump like this. But that's still 2D. You're still moving in 2 dimensions. Left and right, up and down. Yeah, probably the most flashy attack we have is Shadow Strike. You've seen it before if you've been paying any attention. It's the one that does this. Here, I'll pop it again. See how I just kind of slide up into the air like that? None that I can think of, Lanero. I'm sure there's one somewhere.
Greetings, Wanderer.
That's true, Electrival. My father thinks it's too dangerous beyond Zanshin's walls for a lady. He only lets me leave when we need supplies from one keg. But yeah, see, I'm not very good at being a lady, so maybe I'd be a better adventurer like you. Those ruins creep me out. They're so old. Wait, what's that? Where do those huts come from? And what's with that gigantic ship in the distance? Seriously, I forget the proper term for those, but they're called something like city ships. And they're called that for a reason. No, Rain 36. Up, down is one dimension. Left, right, that's to say forward and back, is a second dimension. There's only 2 dimensions. Even if you like a game like, say, Virtua Fighter, where you can actually rotate to the sides, you're not actually changing the lane. You can only really move forward or back from the enemy. Those boats, where are they coming from? Oh no! Look at the huts! Why are they attacking defenseless villagers? Because they are the Zul Confederacy. We've talked about this. Nobody listens to me. I should also probably mention that I am playing a subtlety rogue, who is spec'd very heavily into haste. As you might imagine, I think this is true in FF14 as well, haste also lowers your GCD, although only by a bit. Looks like my father was wrong. Even Zanshin can be dangerous. I mean, the Zandalari are honestly kind of top tier. As I've mentioned, they have a similar situation with the Blood Elves. They don't have numbers, they don't have resources, they have expertise. I assure you, Silverfur is the best fighter I've ever seen. He'll be able to help prepare your village. Global cooldown, Evo. Promises, promises. There's nothing you can do to save us. The Zandalari are ruthless. Do me a favor, Evo. Look at my bars in the lower left. Just stare at them for a second. Do you see that right there? Every bar that has that little rotate thing, that's the global cooldown right there. You notice it is not all of them. A quick and easy visual way to see which of my abilities are off the global cooldown, because there's the ones who are not doing this. No, Mr. Flippin, I actually just answered that. But to repeat myself, this is the Zul Confederacy, who are here on behalf of Zul himself.
Hello.
The elders have agreed to help us figure out where the Zandalari have hidden the Thunder King's remains. They have a few conditions, though.
Every good story needs a hero.
The villagers have been guarding Zaunshin since the first attack. They are exhausted, and many are injured. The Zandalari attack again... If the Zandalari attack again, the last thing we need is the defenders to fall asleep on the job. Relieve them of their posts so they might have time to heal and see their families.
Eyes open. Always
that.
be learning.
No, it's fine, Mr. Floyd. It's just your timing is hysterical. I'm like, so these are the whole Confederacy, and then you pop in, so who sends this invasion? And it's like... Well, Rastakhan is extremely traditionalist, to the point where he is, like, he encourages stagnation in his own kingdom. Simplest way to put that. And he has been in charge for a long time. He also has a patron, Loa, who himself is pretty big on stagnancy, on just maintaining the status quo. So you've got a ruler who is interested in the status quo, being backed by a powerful Loa, who is interested in the status quo. Zul is one of the first times the Zandalari have done anything in... Honestly, I think since the Troll Wars, really. And the Zandalari only barely got involved in the Troll Wars, I think. Don't quote me on that. So it's been a while, either way.
Hello. There is no
So let's go relieve some people here.
You are most welcome.
You know, I don't remember his name, but ironically, I could tell you his name. If I just pull up the dungeon where we fight him. Spoilers. Rizan. That's him. Loa of Kings. Hi, J. Palmer. When the trolls came, they brought the mercenary friends with them. I saw them go past us, the fishing camp. My cousin, a healer, lives there. Can you check up with him as well?
Next one is on me.
No. Well, yes and no, respectively, Reign 36. The simplest way to explain Zul's interaction with Rastakhan is that Zul does whatever the hell he wants to, and as long as things are fine, Rastakhan lets him.
What wisdom do you seek?
So to say these are acting completely independently from Rastakhan is wiping his hands a little bit too clean of things. Rastakhan is not an innocent. Having said that, he is also not completely complicit either. Me too, Cloden. Expect some negatives when we get to the end of Zul's arc.
You are most welcome.
It's a shame, given how many positives he's going to get, too.
You are most welcome.
I've seen the numbers these invaders have brought with them. This will not be an easy victory. I do know of one thing that may help us gain an advantage. There's a plant that grows around the village that can be used to make an effective explosive liquid. If you gather enough, I can begin brewing the mixture. The plant you're naming for is appropriately named the Volatile Bloom. Handle with care.
May you find mastery in your passions.
Actually, yeah, Lineruth. If Zul had successfully managed to barter a true alliance with the Thunder King, and that actually added to the prosperity, wealth, and general, livability of the Zandalari, then Rastakhan would have been fine with it. He doesn't care. It's also worth noting that the Zandalari are one of those we care about the old stuff people. You know what I mean, right? To them, something that happened thousands of years ago matters now. That type of person. Like dragons in FF14. So, Rastakhan... Oh, centuries, J. Palmer. And Rastakhan is much older than that. So Rastakhan probably... This is interpretation. Probably is fine with maintaining his alliance with the Zandalari... with the Thunder King. Because... the Zandalari did actually enter into an alliance with the Thunder King 13,000 years ago. Or 12 or 15, it doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter. A bajillion years ago.
Speak up. Enough of that.
The elders want us to mount a defense. We're not monks. We need weapons. Scavenge me some arms from those barbarians. I should be able to melt them down into something more suitable for our villagers to fight with.
Goodbye.
No, Rastakhan isn't that old. But yeah, that is the biggest problem. Rastakhan is rather hands-off. Let's see if we have an official age for him. I'm actually curious, because I know he's older than he should be. And trolls already live pretty far. Let's see. Doesn't say. He ascended to the throne about 2 centuries ago, though. So he was already, you know, well into his career by the time he hit that mark. So he's well over 200 years old at this point.
Tell me of your travels.
Shh, don't speak so loudly. My father might hear you. My father is delusional. He thinks I should be studying tea pouring while villages are attacked. It's ridiculous. I have as much courage as any man. I just don't know how to fight. Yet, that's where you come in. Let me travel with you. I'm a fast learner, and I won't get in the way. I promise. Please.
I hope to see
Okay.
you soon.
Did Lei Shen actually hold it up back then? No. Well, okay, hold on. Let me actually walk that sentence back. So, Lei Shen never got a chance to do that. So, a little bit of history lesson. You remember Oldham? If you remember Oldham... Oops, sorry. Zooming in. If you remember Oldham, one of the things you may or may not remember about Oldham is that it was a blasted desert hellscape. And the reason why was because the Tol'vir had fired off the Halls of Origination in order to defend against an attack from the Thunder King. That's actually what finally killed Lei Shen. So, cool. Okay, cool. Didn't actually fully kill him, though. It was kind of an unusual attack, so he survived, and most importantly, all of the souls he still had in his possession were still in his possession. That is an extremely important plot point, which is why I'm pausing to emphasize it. And yeah, by the way, as we talked about, there's a very good chance that Tanarus and, Silithus and quite possibly the Thousand Needles
What wisdom do you see?
were all shaped in part by the events of that attack. Anyways, the reason this is important is because when he was launching that attack on the Tol'vir, in order to specifically claim their Titan architecture, he brought along with him several Zandalari, whom he brought with him as an honorific. Like, okay, you're my allies, so sure, you get to be here for this particular attack. No problem. Let's do this. So, what that means is when that gun fired off, when the Gek blew up in his face, it took most of the upper leadership of the Zandalari at the time with him. The reason that's so relevant is it's one of the biggest reasons why the Zandalari Empire got knocked over. Now, there's another reason, too. That would be the Sundering. But that was the end of the Zandalari Empire in every way that mattered. So Lei Shen took them down with him. And I find that hilarious. But getting back to Lunaria's specific question, one of the things we do know is that the current Lei Shen has absolutely no intention of keeping his bargain with Zul or the Confederacy. None whatsoever. He actually specifically mentions that he's been using them as chaff forces in order to keep his own forces from having to expend themselves on us. So, yeah, no, you're probably right. He probably was not actually going to honor any type of bargain. By contrast, Rastakhan, for all of his many faults, is the kind of person who would absolutely honor a deal like that. He's pretty big on keeping his bargains. For good and for ill. His daughter is an interesting character I look forward to talking about. Would Lei Shen back then have kept his bargain? So that's the question, isn't it, Jay Palmer? If you asked me, I would say no. I would imagine that Lei Shen has never stopped being the incredibly egotistical, I am alike as unto a god jackass. Yeah, I was going to say, trolls in general tend to be more honorable about honoring their bargains, which is really funny when you think about all the horrible things trolls have done over the years, but it does tend to be true. Go figure. Devils instead of demons and all that. Oh, but he didn't, Lineruth. They never got a chance to. Lei Shen never got a chance to actually do anything with the Zandalari. He reached out to them. So, okay, let's look at the political landscape here for a second. Lei Shen was very early on into his empire-building career. He had just finished unifying the Mogu under his rule. Had started the experiments, which we'll see and talk about in the Throne of Thunder. I don't want to get too far ahead of us. I know you like talking about stuff in advance, Lunaruth. We'll get there. Sorry. So all of that crap, he just finished doing basically the most basic of stuff of setting up his empire. Then he reached out to the Zandalari. Now, it's worth noting that back then, the Zandalari were at their absolute height. As in, they were the strongest, biggest boys on the block in the entire world. So, he... let's do this. Wrong, whatever. So, like, this new upstart faction reached out to the single strongest and most dominant empire in the world and said, hey, let's be allies. Now, the thing is, the Zandalari of the time were not stupid. They recognized that he was an up-and-comer and realized the kind of power he had at his back. Remember, at that point in time, Lei Shen had 2 separate Titan facilities under his control. So, the Zandalari are like, okay. And they go ahead with it. Then, he decides to go and attack Tol'vir in order to gain a 3rd Titan facility. That's the Halls of Origination. And so, he's like, hey, Zandalari, come with me. As an honor of our bargain. Zandalari come with, Lei Shen is killed, Zandalari leadership is killed. End of Zandalari Empire, and end of the Mogu as players on the board. Does that make sense? Did the trolls know about the Titans back then? If they didn't, they were doing something wrong. And I'm gonna say that as bluntly as I possibly can. Like, for real. Those people had dominance of the entire planet. They'd better have known about the Titans. Yes, the Zandalari Empire is the 2nd oldest empire on the entire planet. The only thing that predates the Zandalari is the Black Empire. By the way, little storytelling tidbit here, which I've kind of been skipping over because I'm going to give you a history lesson. I just killed a Drakari. The Drakari are of the Drakari tribe from Zuldrak, up in Northrend. Earlier, you may or may not have noticed, but I also took out an Amani. There's another Drakari. Over here, Amani, from Zulaman. Over here we have a Gurabashi, from Zul'Gurub. This is why I call this the Zul Confederacy. That's where the term comes, because the whole point of the Zul Confederacy is it's a lot of dregs and leftovers from disparate tribes, pretty much all of whom have made a relatively recent attempt, as in within the last few years, to try and rise to power. And we have shown up and beaten all of them in the face. Yes, I did, Warpcore. So, remember, I mean, granted, the Drakari kind of screwed themselves over up in Northrend before we ever showed up. But we definitely hit the last nail in that coffin. And the Amani, they tried twice to rise to power, and both times they failed, and both times because of us. Now, there's also Faraki here, although I'm not sure there's any Faraki out here. And, of course, the Gurabashi, or sorry, the Amani. You get a point. Gurabashi, Amani, Faraki, and Drakari. Because, see, Zul himself, I'm going to spoil something for you. One of Zul's biggest things is he's a racist. He is a supreme troll supremacist. Of all of the things he cares about most, the thing that is at the very top of that priority list is making sure that this is a troll planet. Now, we don't know exactly why or where that comes from. There are certainly some theories that are floating around. But the long and the short of it is, he wants there to essentially just be trolls. That's why he reaches out to all these disparate troll factions, because he doesn't care if you're Amani or Drakari. He doesn't care if you're Firaki or Gurabashi.
Oh, hello.
He cares if you are a troll. Yes, Favre, of course I did. That's all he cares about. Yeah, the Firaki never actually started. If you pay attention to the quests in Zul'Farrak, they were just starting to think about reaching out to try and cause issues. And they didn't get that far. They literally didn't get to the point of even starting their rise to power because we showed up. That was right at the beginning of our career, too.
Welcome. May your days
I
bring
told you I was
you
a fast
joy.
loader. I will head back to the village to start training others. Thank you. You're welcome. That would be nice, Favrin.
Safe.
Yeah, I like how you picked up immediately on why I kept my X spear. I know it's weird, but I do like actually trying. Shocking. The Black Empire does not predate... Well, okay. Here's the answer, J. Palmer. I don't know. Remember, we know very, very little about the native races, like the Yongle and the Pandaren, and of course, the Trolls. So we know about the Black Empire. We know about what was happening during the reign of the Black Empire, and we know what happened when the Black Empire fell. We also know that the Titans then peaced out, as is their normal modus operandi. They left a whole bunch of Titan Forged and Titan Keepers and said, here, do your thing, we're busy, we're gone. They had other things to deal with. They had to go die. So, we're not sure exactly when the Trolls specifically started to rise up. If they rose up from the Black Empire, if they were there before the Black Empire. That's all the matter of speculation. However, if you asked me, I would say that the Trolls, all the native races predate the Black Empire, were enslaved under their yoke. There's actually a very specific bit of dialogue that indicates that it's actually in Dragonflight of all things. So we're enslaved under the Black Empire. And then, you know, at that point they were freed by the efforts of the Titan Forge and then built up the Zandalari Empire.
What do you need?
You're probably wondering what the Zandalari are. Speaking of which, that's the first tribe of the Trolls. They're a little bit, like all the Trolls are a little bit biologically different. You've seen that as you look at them. The Zandalari are the ones who are very tall and are very imposing is the word I'd like to use. They're not giant masses of muscles like most Trolls are. It's hard to explain, but if you've seen a Zandalari standing next to another Troll, you see what I mean. In fact, actually, hang on. I can do this very quickly. No, the other one. So, obviously, he's got armor on, but you can kind of tell this is a troll. He seems lanky, but he is nothing but solid muscle, right? Just absolutely, you know, rah. This is a Zandalari. Again, still under armor, but you can tell the difference in posture and body type immediately. Yeah, Zandalari also have scales. It's most obvious. You can see it right there, even with all of my armor on. Look at his feet. He literally has scales coming out of them. And yeah, like I said, Zandalari are the original troll tribe, the original troll race. They do have an unbroken line going back quite a ways, but as I mentioned before, they haven't been a real power for millennia. Once the Zandalari Empire broke, they never reformed. Now, the Kingdom of Zandalari has existed ever since then, and still does. But they are not players on the board. Not in any real sense of the word. Yeah, then by contrast, you have like the Forest Trolls, and then you've got the Dire Trolls, and that's just a whole other thing. Anyways, I should probably stop screwing around. I really want to finish Kun-Lai today. You know how it is. We start talking about trolls. There's a lot of troll lore in this setting. Like, a lot.
How does today find you?
Very good. With the villagers rested, we may stand a chance against the Zandalari. I
Farewell.
might just start saying the Confederates instead of Zandalari, because it's just more accurate, and it'll reduce confusion. Is that cool with everyone? Cool.
Slow down.
We'll need more than luck to get us through this. I hope you found something we can work with.
Goodbye.
Well, these are better than I'd anticipated. I can make 4 spears for every one of their blades. Don't you worry, I'll make sure the villagers are armed when the time comes.
Until next time.
Oh yeah, that's another thing about the Zandalari, the actual Zandalari. They're really big on pomp and circumstance. If you happen to look at the Zandalari troll I just showed you, my Zandalari paladin, he looks a little fancy, and that is very much on purpose. Like, I don't think I can actually show it to you. I'm pretty sure I can't, actually. Yeah, it's probably not going to let me. Nah. Well, all you need to know is that they have a certain style to them, as is befitting a race who's been around since the beginning, and has a nearly unbroken line of heritage.
Tell me of your travels.
Were you able to find a suitable amount of volatile blooms?
Family.
Oh, these are
Friends.
perfect. I would go wash your hands a few times,
These are
Rogue.
what matter.
I would also continue to avoid open flames for a few days.
Slow down.
Oh yeah, they've definitely got that Mesoamerican look. And frankly, I love it. It looks very cool. Lots of style, lots of gold. Just one look at Dazarlor and you know what I'm talking about. Oh, 100% Favren, yes. Cataclysm had story, as I showcased, but it also had flaws in showcasing that story. And I'm not even talking about, like, the buggy, awkward, janky cutscenes. Pandaria has pacing and narrative breather sections, even within the story of Pandaria itself. You'll notice that Kun-Lai, even the zone we're in, started off with a bang. The Yongle invasion of the Binan village, and the Jinyu who are suffering from the Shaw of Anger. We move forward a little bit, we help out with some people who are just dealing with outskirts of Yongle. Then we help the Grummels for quite a while. That was most of what we did today, was just helping the Grummels against the Hosen. As we're doing so, we get one random quest from Lord Walker Cho who says, "Hey, I've been checking into this artifacts nearby. Maybe you should help me." So we have a nice little fun romp until we find out up here, near the Peak of Serenity, that, oh my gosh, they're trying to resurrect the Thunder King. And now we're up here dealing with the Zul Confederacy, and once again the stakes have been risen, because we're trying to do everything in our power to prevent Lei Shen from returning. It's this, right? And that's just within this one zone.
Hello.
The Zandalari have begun their attack. You must help defend the village. If we can't push them back, we will never find the Thunder King's remains.
Tread lightly.
I'm mostly following narrative flow, Favren. For example, the thing we're doing after this is the Magashon Vault. Kill them as fast as they respawn here. Oh my gosh. I know, they're actually just bugging out. I have been having some server issues, whoever asked that earlier. I think it was Jay Palmer. So, could Warcraft 4 story continue the WoW story? Yes, 100%. Hold on. Maybe I don't understand your question. Let me try that again for a second. Could Warcraft 4 continue where WoW currently is? Yes. Could Warcraft 4 continue where Warcraft 3 left off? The only way for a Warcraft 4 to continue where Warcraft 3 left off is for it to either fill in the gap in between Warcraft 3 and WoW, which, you know, they're kind of restricted on what stories they can tell there. By the way, these are dire trolls. Little more muscular, as you can tell. We're not actually supposed to fight those one-on-one. Which is why I'm an idiot for doing so. I'm going to pop out of that fight. There we go. Yep, we're going to throw explosive barrels at him. Have fun, buddy. Can I get another explosive barrel, please? One more. Come on. Come on up. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Come here. Come here. There you go. Okay, you're dead. Next. Where's the... Oh, there. Alright, show me. Show me what you got. Evo's ears start tickling. Speaking of which, Evo also asked a question. She says, is there an explanation as to where other sentient races came from Azeroth? So, to my knowledge, every race that is not one of the natives has an explanation for where they came from as of this point in time. As in literally all of them. If there's any exceptions to that, I'd have to really think about it. But you missed the pun! You missed my pun, Evo. So, to explain that, her name is Show Me. That should explain the pun. Moving on.
Greetings.
The Zandalari have started to retreat. The victory will mean a great deal to the villagers. In the chaos, I was able to capture one of their fighters. Perhaps we can get some information from him.
Every good story needs a hero.
The prisoner is being kept upstairs. It'll be difficult to get information from him, but even the slightest detail about the location will help. The elders have begun their questioning.
Jade Serpent guide
Now,
you.
let's see how much info we can get out of his frickin' troll. Oh, it is actually a Zandalari, too. You can tell because he's got those scales I just mentioned. Do you see him all over his skin? You will tell us where the remains have been hidden.
How you doing?
Yeah, too late. The Thunder King will rise and take this land from you. Where have the remains been taken?
Be seeing ya.
Rotten. You are too late. The remains of the Thunder King were taken to the Isle of Reckoning. We performed the ancient rites. Even now, the true Emperor of Pandaria lives and breathes once more. Woe to the Pandaran usurpers! The Mogu will rule this land again, and we Zandalari will have a new homeland.
Pandaria welcomes you.
We cannot dwell on this setback. Prophet Garzul must be dealt with. Every member of the Thunder King's forces we're able to destroy brings us one step closer to victory.
Tread lightly.
Prophet Garzul is a powerful caster, but he also underestimates you. Garzul and his forces must be destroyed to protect this village. His death will send a strong message to the Thunder King that we will not be defeated.
Eyes open. Always be learning.
What I find funniest, most of the people who are like, oh my god, the Mogu are so terrifying, are Pandarans. You know, the people who have spent centuries of storytelling being afraid of these people, except for the Pandarans who actually fight them. And every time they do, they're like, the Mogu, they're pathetic. What? Like, what's the issue with them? Why should we be afraid of them?
The Thunder King lives. Our empires be united once more.
Oh, I gotta try on you, don't I? Okay, I can do that. Whoop, 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 whoop. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we're trying, we're trying. This, not this, not this, not now.
We need this land. The cat...
Whoops. Sorry, I killed you too quickly. What he said is the Cataclysm destroyed our home. Yes, that's retconned. We're just going to say that really quick. Now, Jay Palmer asked a question. Let's see here. Jay Palmer says, why are you so stupid? Well, it's because, wait, what? I don't understand that question. What offshoots? Yeah, there's that quote, and then there's a bit of lore from one of the journals during the Throne of Thunder patch, which talks about how, you know, the Cataclysm shook the land and totally destroyed Zandalar. And it's like, yeah. Spoilers. Zandalar's right there. It's fine. So... I mean, it's got issues, but, you know, it's not perfect. I wouldn't want to put my summer home there. Lei Shen built the wall, yes. I mean, thousands and thousands of Pandaren slaves built the wall, but yes, Lei Shen built the wall. I mean... I don't know, is my answer, Dave Palmer, because I don't think Zandalari were ever, you know, Titanforged, like the Vrykul were. Come on. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if all the other trolls are offshoots of the Zandalari, because they are. They are actually offshoots of the Zandalari. I feel like I just said that. Let's see. So, Verlictum does ask a question. Do I have a theory why Warcraft 4 isn't there already? I do not have a theory. I have a fact. I can even back this fact up, although it would take me a while to do so, so do me a favor, don't ask me to. So, do you want the short answer or the long answer? So I got both. Let's try to be stupid. I don't know what those things are, Evo. Really, I don't. We have kind of a surfeit of knowledge about this at the moment. As far as theories? Oh, jeez. Yeah, I was gonna say, they don't look... So, okay. The thing is, I have trouble calling them proto-trolls. Because they're not, right? We know what proto-trolls look like. We just talked to one. No. What they remind me more of is dark trolls. And that's the direction I'm thinking they're going to go in with that. And if you don't know what a dark troll is, dark trolls became night elves. These events should be learned from. It's important we learn from our history. That we paid attention to the histories, we may have been able to get ahead of this before it got this far. Everything that's happened was already foretold. We just didn't know how to read it yet.
Farewell.
And they're never going to be playable, because nobody wants to play a dark troll. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
What wisdom do you seek?
What?
You have the eyes of one who has traveled much.
Yeah, I noticed we got the half-elf thing going on right now. That's a funny one, by the way. How the hell are those two species compatible? I think there's like a grand total of 2 dark trolls in the entire game. Don't even quote me on that, I'm not even sure.
You are most welcome.
Thank you, I suppose. I'll need to ask you to do a bit more before I can return to the village. I cannot leave the bodies of my friends and family here.
May you find mastery.
After the mercenaries robbed us, most left, but one of them. After the others took all they had, he ran the rest of us through for sport.
May the red crane live forever.
Many have perished here. We will need to honor them properly, which means gathering the makings of the incense of life. It doesn't just smell nice. It has restorative properties. It may even help the plants regrow. Maybe I can get a whiff of the ingredients to help me get back on my feet. The materials can be found on the creatures around here, except for the spices, which were stolen by the mercenaries. Sorry, I thought I heard someone adorable coming down the stairs.
Family, friends.
I do not wish to dishonor my friends and leave them in unmarked graves, yet we have never needed to bury so many at once, and I am in no condition to gather materials. Please, visit the lakes that hug the mountain's edge. Underneath the waterfalls you will find stones that have been polished to a sheen by the falling water. They will make suitable headstones.
Slow down. Life is to be savored.
Like 9-ish thousand years? Something like that, Creamy. I'd have to look up the specifics, but it was during the War of the Satyr, which was after the War of the Ancients. Oof, those hurt. So, let's give you the short answer first, Verlictum. Bobby Kotick. Okay, now let me give you the long answer. Oh, in real life? I'm almost positive Worgen were invented for WoW Vanilla, back when they were still aliens. Don't quote me on that, though. So, okay. In order to understand all of WoW history, and I do mean all of it, in fact, honestly, most Blizzard history, you have to understand there's a project called Titan. And Titan was a disaster. It was one of the biggest and most horrible disasters in Blizzard history. No, really, whatever you're thinking about to jokingly respond with, it goes absolutely nowhere near just how bad Titan was. Titan, more or less, caused actual physical injury to people because of how much of a colossal stress fest it was. As in, Metzen literally had to go to the hospital over it. That's not a joke. Now, the specifics of going into Titan and why it was such a mess would actually take a while. But yes, Titan was supposed to be WoW 2. It was supposed to completely supplant and replace WoW. And yeah, it was a vaporware. It never materialized. They could never come up with anything solid with it. And they poured time and effort and resources and stress into it. And the problem was, this was after they had been consumed by Activision and Bobby Kotick. So, Blizzard has always had this mentality, and for better or for worse, I actually agree with it. I know Huthor would disagree with me on this. Did he just... He did. Hey! It's actually kind of clever. I'm not sure, J. Palmer. I haven't really studied that one all that much. Dark Moon Fair Bill of Sale. Super effective null decoy. 60 gold? Wow, you overpaid on that one, buddy. Oh, God, tell me about it, Evo. So... Blizzard used to have a policy of, we want to put out the best possible thing we can, and certainly a fairly large amount of arrogance involved in that, too. No joke. But we got this, right? We'll just do it, and we'll do it until we're satisfied with it, or if we're not satisfied, we'll can it. Blizzard has never had any problem canning projects before. The problem is now they're under Activision, and that's a huge amount of time and effort and resources that have been burnt on a project that never came out. No return on investment. And under the new management, that was no longer acceptable. Now, you might think, well, yeah, they blew time and money on something for years and came up with nothing, but that's not how that works in reality land. You don't need a direct line to an ROI in order to actually prove the value of a project. People can learn, people can grow, people can figure out how things work, or figure out how engines work, or come up with new ideas. Lots and lots and lots of ideas and assets and resources can and often are reused into future projects. It's actually kind of normal that that sort of thing happens. But you know how corporates are, and you know how corporate society is, so Titan was being considered a failure. This is one of the reasons there was so much pressure for Titan to actually return on its investment, because it needs to do something, right? Yeah, parts of it, I mean, both StarCraft Ghost and Warcraft Adventures were recycled into future projects, which then made plenty of money. To use two specific examples, just from this company. So with all of this pressure coming down, with Titan falling apart, what ended up happening is Titan was finally canceled. They finally pulled the plug on it, and that led to a huge mess in the board. That also led to Bobby Kotick assigning people to directly have oversight and control over Blizzard. No more wasting resources. Now, Bobby Kotick is a very strong proponent of cronyism because he is a dictator at heart. He's an autocrat. He absolutely wants total dictatorial control over things. Now, whether that's acceptable or not is not what I'm here to debate. The point is that is how he operates. So, he applied cronies who would only do whatever it is he asked of them to do and nothing else. Oh my god, leave me alone, I just want stones. So, in the wake of Titan, there we go. Jesus. Yeah, Blizzard arrogance was pretty bad. I'm never going to deny that. Let's just be honest about that. Yeah, Bobby Kotick is a goddamn plague. He's a cancer. But I'm getting off topic. So, no more wasting resources. Everything has to be justified, and each of his cronies are going to be a lot more personally involved in the production of everything. Now, I'm finally getting to the answer to your question, although if you've been paying attention for Lictum, I'm sure you've already figured out where this story is going. Because all of that was in the wake of Titan. Titan blew up during the end of Pandaria. The most obvious example of Titan's influence on WoW is Warlords, which is barely half of an expansion because of Titan. However, all of the End of Legion and BFA and Shadowlands were also fallout from Titan. But most importantly, a lot of the developers at Blizzard, especially the ones who'd been working on Titan and now suddenly had no projects on their table, started pitching other ideas. They wanted more green lights to work on more games, including, you guessed it, Warcraft 4. There was a lot of push to start a new RTS and try to keep going, since the StarCraft 2 scene had settled to the point where it was in its own space and everyone was happy with it, and they could finally start pulling in new resources. And yeah, there were plenty of ways that they could pull in assets from several projects, including Titan, in order to do this. You could probably guess what the answer was to all of that. The only project that they ever managed to get greenlit was Warcraft 3 Reforged. And discussing that is literally an entire separate story of screw-ups. And to be very clear, I do not blame the development team of Warcraft 3 Reforged for Warcraft 3 Reforged. Because I've actually looked into that. I have actually studied the creation of that game. And I feel extremely bad for those developers.
What wisdom do you seek?
They are dead. Already I can feel my spirit lifting. Soon I'll have the strength to return to the village.
May you find mastery in your passions. May the red crane live forever.
Thank you, my friend. After this tragedy, it's good that fortune has smiled on us and sent us you. You have gotten justice for my fallen and gathered necessary materials to honor them. I will gather their bodies and prepare the materials for their funerals. Meet you at the graveyard. In the meantime, please return to my cousin. Ask him to gather villagers for the funeral.
Family, friends.
Why don't I blame them? Okay. What happened behind the scenes? I don't have an hour to tell you about that. So, I'm going to give you a very, very short answer. The original intention was for Warcraft 3 Reforged to be a remake. Fully redoing, basically redesigning the missions from scratch in order to apply new concepts they learned from StarCraft 2 and new ideas and concepts from World of Warcraft to tie all the lore in together. New cutscenes, new voice acting, new scripts, new missions. Yes. And then they were sabotaged constantly from up top. Limited time, limited budget, limited access, limited resources, and in many cases, refusals to allow people to even assist them on the development of said project. Warcraft 3 Reforged is held together with twine and twigs under the hood. It is honestly astonishing it works at all.
Tell me of your travels.
I see. It is tragic what happened there. We will meet you at the graveyard to honor them.
May the mists protect you.
Yeah, it's just...
Tell me of your travels.
You see, what you have done is a tribute to a truth we Pandaren hold most dear. None of us approach death with joy, but neither should we feel anger or doubt. Though we may die, from our passing blossoms new light. This is the truth that we live, work, and die for. Do you see? From their graves trees grow. May these trees always stand for the sacrifice they made, and the honor you have done them. Thank you, friend. You are a true hero. Nice little outro quest here. As usual, WoW is best when it comes to these little side stories. Oh, I refunded the hell out of Warcraft 3 Reforged. And I'm quite unashamed of that action. But you know, with the Zul Confederacy right here, what do you think is this strange, tall Mogu structure? The Mogushan Terrace? I think it leads to the Mogushan Vaults. I would say yes, Lunarith. There were certainly cracks periodically, but Warcraft 3 Reforged, what the hell? So yes, this was the raid that came out at, well, the initial raid at launch, the first tier.
The ancient vaults of the Mogu, untouched by time for thousands of years. Who knows what secrets await? Many young Pandaren warriors have vanished into this tomb. Have your wits about you.
You're on Kennex Count. So, I think I could swing a plus to brickwork here.
The Lodge Gwylan seem to be guarding that door. Tread carefully, lest you wake them.
That's pronounced Quailan? I don't think I ever knew that. At least noticed that. to effortlessly kill a heroic boss in a few seconds. This was such a hell of a fight, too.
That was close.
Yeah, definitely.
The door mechanism seems to have activated with the demise of the Guardians. I fear what we may find within.
Yes, Lunareth. I would be shocked if it didn't. Too many people in the upper echelons of Microsoft have a desire for that to keep going. I mean, again, Age of Empires 4, right? Come on, game. Come on. There you go.
We seem to have awakened a spirit of some kind.
Spencer, Magister. And yeah. I actually really liked this raid, and I had the joy of being able to experience it on hard back in the day. There you go.
Oh, the stories were true. We have disturbed what should not have been disturbed. He cannot be free to escape this prison. You must destroy him.
So that guy's got a spear, that guy's got an axe, that guy's got a shield, and that guy's got a staff. Feng borrows powers from each of the 4 kings and changes his abilities accordingly. This guy's mostly whatever, in terms of difficulty. Except for that last one. Arcane Shock and Arcane Velocity. This was the thing we had trouble with. We're just going to one-shot him, of course.
Tender your souls, mortals. These are the halls of the dead.
Feng the Accursed was betrayed by 4 emperors of the Mogul. His body destroyed each time, only to rise again. This is not the last we have seen of Feng.
Fun fact, that's the last we've seen of Feng.
The Zandalari, ancient allies of the Mogul. They must seek the legendary weapon within the depths of the vaults.
And you see why I do this right here.
Sorry I did not tell you earlier. These vaults house a weapon of unimaginable power.
What?
Stop them.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
Stay behind and investigate this dais further.
Alright, I'll go kill Zandalari.
No matter. We don't be needing what's back that way anyhow.
So that is Garajal. He only shows up one more time, but just do me a favor and remember that name, because he's coming back. Hang on, I need my HUD for this. This was back before the Zandalari model was fully codified, I'm almost positive. Because I'm like 95% sure the Zandalari model actually came out in the Throne of Thunder patch, which is after this. Alright, who'd I miss?
Finding. Time to play, friends.
This is a great fight. This is another one of those top-down fights. Or, you know, up-down, whatever you want to call that. Part of the raid would be in the realm of the dead and doing stuff down there. Part of the raid would be out here and doing stuff in the realm of the living. That is exactly as cool as it sounds.
It be dying time now. Bah! Bested by the likes of you. What a shame for a Zandalari priest to endure. But it ain't no thing. Take your trinkets. You'll be needing them. I be going now. Time to find a new home for me soul. death be a doorway and time a window, I'll be back.
And unlike Feng, we will see him again. And as Magister pointed out, that might not even be his original body right there. He's a spirit binder. He's a troll spirit binder. I love the way they characterize the vaults here. Look at that.
Hello. Tread lightly.
Look at that. Straight out of Portal 2.
The ancient vaults of the kings of Mogoshan. What might this button do? Look here. It is the history of Xian of the Endless Shadow, a powerful sorcerer who kept the kingdoms in check through terror and darkness. This looks to be the record of Qiang the Merciless, a great conqueror who ruled his vassals with an iron fist. I've heard tales of this one, Subutai the Swift, well known as a masterful archer and genius thief. He stole from the rich and kept everything for himself. What is this? I've heard nothing of this emperor. Meng the Demented? According to these texts, Meng was the most foul and maniacal ruler to ever abuse the imperial throne.
And that is saying something coming from Mogu. Like, really think about that. These records were written by Mogu. We did. These 4 emperors were all referenced back in the Mogoshan Palace. So I just want to talk about this fight very, very briefly. I know I'm trying not to cover the fights because that would take forever and we're in a bit of a hurry. But this is each of the 4 guys you just talked about.
Armies are endless, my power unmatched.
Each one of them has their own mechanic. Kong the Merciless is actually pretty simple. He does a wave attack, which will absolutely kill your face off if you get hit by it. And he has a giant strike, which will kill your face off if you get hit by it. Big, easy, obvious to dodge stuff that hurts a lot if you fail at it. Over here's Subutai. He has a few, quick attacks, which are relatively harder to dodge, or easier to dodge, but don't hit as hard. But he also likes to do this thing where he spins an area, steals all your loot, which functionally is a massive debuff for several seconds. Then we got this guy. He just spam casts shadow spells on your face, and he summons little black holes. Okay, they're not literally black holes, but they might as well be, which have to be absorbed by players, otherwise they slowly spread and cause damage to the raid. My personal favorite is Ming over here, the Demented. He has this fantastic thing where he casts Demented Thought. When he casts enough Demented Thoughts, he goes insane and he starts doing a damaging face. See you around, Devo. Get some good rest. Remember, if you're not on tonight, do me a favor and tell Pax that. And so he has this wonderful thing where he's like, I'm going to keep casting. So you want to interrupt him from doing that. But you don't want to interrupt him too much because, and I don't remember why exactly, but you want him to do that periodically. It's this fascinating little sequence of trying to control how fast he goes insane without letting him go too insane at the time in which the raid can't deal with it. I love those kind of mechanics where how the fight progresses is completely in the player's hand. And you're probably thinking, these all sound relatively simple. That's because I skipped a step. The moment we kill Kong there, he keeps fighting us. So we fight Kong, then we fight Kong and Subutai. Then we fight Kong, Subutai, and whatever that guy's name is. Then we fight Kong, Subutai, What's-His-Face, and Meng. So in other words, at the end of the fight, we're fighting all 4 of them simultaneously. And so that's why each of their mechanics is relatively simple, is because they all stack. It's very FF14 in the way it's designed. It's a great fight.
I will crush you in body
Watch your
and
step.
in attack.
There's that giant wave attack I mentioned.
See your mistake soon enough.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He actually does 2 of those
Shockwave.
on heroic mode.
Soon you will understand why my
Interrupt.
subjects fear the shadows. The darkness
Run.
comes for
You have angered the Emperor. The sentence is death.
Interrupt.
Crazy Thought, that's what that ability's called. There's those black holes I mentioned.
I don't want to die.
Oh, sucks to be you.
A secret passage has opened beneath the platform. This way.
By the way, you may or may not have noticed, I'm getting no transmog in here. Yeah. Yeah, I've got all this stuff.
Look at the dust along the floor. These dark halls have not seen footfalls for many centuries.
Notice immediate change in architecture, by the way. Much less maintained, too. So remember, the Mogu...
The Mogu enslaved all of the races of Pandaria and bent them to their nefarious will. These Jinyu have been locked in an eternity of servitude.
So yeah. It's not just the Jinyu spirits who are stuck here enslaved. Notice, and it's hard to tell, I know, but those Mogu are also spirits who are also enslaved. The Mogu enslaved their own spirits, who then enslaved the Jinyu spirits here. That's just Mogu in a nutshell, right there.
A faint humming. It is coming from this direction.
By the way, they actually have a cool mechanic for trash, which I'm just going to show off briefly. I'm going to aggro this. When you do, the water shapers are... Come on, do it. There we go. So you start doing those buff beams. You can interrupt those buff beams and get the buff yourself. Be free. Be free. Yep, enjoy eternal life. In slavery. So, I'm going to tell you something. I've been talking to you about the Mogu for a couple of days now. And I've kind of given away all of this, so forgive me for that. But you have to understand, what you're about to see was actually the very first insight into the fact that the Titans had anything to do with the Mogu. Because this is the engine of Nalaksha.
This room pulses with energy, but feels unlike any we have seen so far.
Also, that's literally a Titan console.
Fascinating. I have never heard tales of anything like this. The Mogu hide their secrets well.
Oh, right. Yes. Continue, please.
This seems to be a terminal controlling the device. Let's see here.
Senses are...
Magnificent. It talks. This seems beyond what we thought the Mogu were capable of.
Identification matrix mismatch. Unknown entities detected.
Oh dear, this could get messy. I will observe from a safer distance.
What's ironic, Rain 36, is possibly, but not necessarily. Either way, yes, though. Oh yeah, so while you're here, you turn into a Celestial, which I always thought was kind of cool. It was also extremely bugged for a while there. It looks like it isn't right now. I'm almost sad. So this fight is... This is a really cool fight. This is a supreme coordination check fight. He does his stuff. He's a typical dragon boss. Nothing really fancy. But then, at the outside of the ring, these little things light up, and they send orbs to him. If orbs reach him, then he goes ahead and enters his phase 2. At which point, this platform we're standing on goes away, and you plummet to your death. How many of you have ever been caught by that? Not very often. I'm pretty good at that. I was manning a warrior at this point, so I could just hop right off. Invariably, we used to make a betting game of how many people would plummet into here. Anyways. Then you have to deal with all this stuff out here. But the thing is, these beams are generating walls of light, like out like this, right? So you're stuck, like in your particular pizza slice. So you have to coordinate who goes off into which sections in order to kill the trash, in order to access the rest of it. And once everything is shut down, we redevelop the platform in the middle, we go back in, we fight the boss again. The thing is, and I didn't tell you about this part, those balls that go towards him, if you destroy all of them, he summons a second round of balls, which then go faster. And then a third, which go faster, and so forth and so on, until eventually one of them will reach him. Here's the catch. Each wave, he takes more damage. So if you were able to actually take down those balls and kind of stall his phase 2, you were rewarded for extra damage on the boss. And it's worth noting, he's not doing anything during that phase. So this is the phase in which the healers are probably spending most of their time DPSing, and the tanks ditto, because there's not much to tank or heal. It was a fascinating fight, and very well coordinated.
Existence ends. I become. The machine has been destroyed, and so the mogul's power weakens. These discs look familiar, but I cannot place their origin. They call to me. The discs. I see everything clearly now. The Titans. It would seem the Moguls salvaged and repurposed ancient Titan technology to advance their empire. We must go. We are not done yet.
Yeah, there's your big reveal moment. This isn't much of a surprise to anybody, familiar with the series, who knows what's going on and could detect the signs as they come in. But it was a big moment intended for players who were only paying attention to the story for the first time, which, it's worth noting, was not a small group of people. Despite viewing figures, Kata and Pandaria both were a lot of players' first time playing WoW. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of you in chat right here started the game with Kata or Pandaria. Elagon is not a Celestial. He is actually just a program. Like, he's not even a full Titan Forge or Keeper or anything like that. Or Watcher, excuse me. So all of this is in preparation for this big moment. I've actually already given this a positive if you're paying attention to the document. This is the will of the Emperor. Their fancy name for it. This... This is a crude but effective matter replicator.
An actual, functional Mogul construct machine. We cannot allow this to fall into the wrong hands. An endless army of soulless abominations. I shudder to think of the violence that would erupt from such a machine. You must destroy it, here, now, before any harm can come to Pandaria. Turn the machine on. I will lock the door behind you.
So, I'll listen to all of... I mean, I can't avoid listening to all of them. So there were two things about this fight that were awesome. Only two. The first... So, you've got Emperor's Courage, Emperor's Strength, and Emperor's Rage, okay? Rage is a relatively simple. They fixate one person and they beeline that person. They hurt, but that's kind of it. They're also extremely vulnerable to CC, as in they have lower than usual resistances to CC, and CC lasts longer on them. So you can control them pretty easily. Strengths need to be tanked and dealt with quickly, because they're going to face away from stuff, and Courages are mean. Courages cannot take damage from the front. They also fixate, but they only ever fixate on a tank, and they fixate on one of the random tanks. And they beeline towards that tank. Once they reach the tank, they start rooting them with a chain attack, which just roots them in place. They might think, why does that matter? Well, after a while, those two really big slots right there, the really empty ones, these pop out the actual bosses. I don't remember their name, don't ask. These have to be tanked separately, otherwise bad things happen. And they obviously have their own mechanics, but the biggest mechanic is the dance. For the record, yes, I do have that achievement. Thank you for asking. So the way that the dance works is he'll do this, right? Like watch me for a second. And then he will do this massive swing in front of him. Or he'll go like this, and then do a massive swing which hits to the left of him. Or like this, and then he hits a massive swing to the right of him, and then he reaches up, and he stomps down in a circle around him. Now, this is a wonderful mechanic. The way this works out is, once they start doing the combo, you don't want to get hit by it. Obviously, it hits like a truck, but also it gives you a debuff. However, every hit that fails to hit you gives you a stacking buff, which doesn't do much until you get all the stacks. If you get all the stacks, you get... I don't actually remember what, but you get something good. Opportunistic Strike. Oh, there it is. That's actually it. You get Opportunistic Strike, which gives you a super nuke, which you can use to absolutely beat their face off. Like, you know, it says it only does 17,000 damage, but trust me when I say that was a huge hit. Way bigger than anything else you could do, right? Also, Titan Sparks. We'll talk about that later. So, doing the combo was a huge part of the mechanic, and the tanks had to do the combo. Like, they had to try and move with it. And, of course, using the combo to get the big hit, to do the hit, was a great way for them to maintain aggro, among other things. This is why the Courages, the green guys who root you, are so problematic. If a Courage reaches a tank, remember, they beeline the tanks, and they root them, you can't dodge the combo. I mentioned that one last mechanic. Break all the things here really quick. So when you're doing hard mode, which we are, every ad you defeat pops out a Titan Spark. Titan Sparks, they don't do much, they just fixate on someone. However, when a Titan Spark dies, or gets close to a player, it explodes, doing 8 million damage to all players in 8 yards. It also buffs all nearby constructs while it's doing it. So you not only need to kill those and be nowhere near them, but you need to make sure that it's also nowhere near the ads. This was an insane fight.
The Emperor's rage echoes through the hills.
And an extremely well-designed ad fight. Probably the best designed ad fight until, like, the BFA era, I would say. And even that's just off the top of my head.
Target you.
Grips this land
So there's the Titan Sparks.
of iron.
And there's the giant spark. You see all the damage it did, the AoE it did. So now we'll get a strength. There he is. These are the big hitters.
Target you.
Next we'll have another strength. Oh no, another rage, excuse me. We should have a strength in a few seconds.
Courage burns everlasting.
Target you.
So you're probably wondering why I called Courage is green,
Relax.
guys. Come on.
Target you.
That's why. The green line.
Target you.
The endless army will crush
Target you.
Emperor's foes.
I know, thank you. So there's the big boys. Hey,
Target
Techno's
you.
World. These are what you have to kill to end the fight. They also have this ability called Magnetized, which magnetically ties a tank to one of them. So if you try to get away... Oh, I can't even do it. Whatever. So if you do it, they yank you back to them. So that also screws with your ability to dodge the combo.
Yet, how many of these machines are hidden beneath the earth? How much do we not know about the dark secrets of the Mogu? I fear that our war against our ancient enemies is still far from over.
No, I think we're good. Thank you for the interruption, Techno's World. Always appreciate you. And I will put all of those towards dealer's choice. Yes, the Emperor's subs clouds the sky. I love it. I love how there's still people in Dalaran. It has never not been true. There's always people in Dalaran. I'm not even mad. I'm very happy about that. Let me clear my inventory really quick.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummels, like you.
Anyways, I'd love to give that raid many positives for gameplay because it's a really good raid. Pandaria doesn't have a bad raid. I'm not even sure Pandaria has a bad raid boss. Never mind raid. But you know the rules. No gameplay positives.
Good fortune to our friends.
Yes, abandonment is abandonment. That is all there is to that. It is what it is. Still some cool story. I do like the narrative of going through there. The beginnings of our interactions with the Mogu and the Titans. A little bit more of a reveal for what's really going on here. And... ow. Some good stuff with Lore Walker Cho. And the Zandalari. And our first shot at Garajal. Speaking of which, Lunirith asks when we see Garajal. Garajal, yes, next. God damn it, I'm screwing up my own pronunciation. The next time we'll see him will be in the Throne of Thunder. Yeah, the goal is to finish Kun-Lai today. And I'm on track for that. I do have a dungeon coming up, though. Not super soon, but it is coming up.
Half of the Vale lies in ruin. These outsiders have been more destructive than the Manted and the Mogu combined.
Give us a chance to put things right.
Great Tiger, the strangers from beyond the mists, they cannot be trusted. The wreckage in the Jade Forest can attest to this.
Yeah, so another negative to story for this problem. We've already talked about this, so I have nothing new to add to this.
Can you believe the majesty of this place?
I'm glad you're here. This Vale of Eternal Blossoms is legendary amongst the Pandaren. It's a place of great healing if the locals are to be believed. But the Horde War Chief has done something to Vale. No, he hasn't!
Be careful.
Nobody is allowed into the Vale without the approval of the August Celestials. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to make this clear how stupid this is. In fact, I'm going to double up this negative, because this is very stupid. So, we are currently petitioning the August Celestials, the four main Loa of this area, for entrance to the Vale of the Golden Blossoms. We need to get entrance in there because no one's been allowed there forever. But they're hesitant to let us in because Garrosh, who's in there with the Horde, has just despoiled it. So we need to get entrance to the place that he's our... Anyways.
Stay safe.
Alright, Sven, what do you got for me?
Yes. Ah, another stranger from beyond the mists.
Hi, Tyrael.
Soon they will overwhelm this continent. Where do we draw the line?
We're here to lend our aid. We can help you rebuild the Veil.
We have witnessed your help in the Jade Forest. This horde, this alliance of yours, you have no control over your own nature. You leave misery in your wake.
10,000 years ago, the last Pandaren Emperor came seeking my advice. He too was filled with conflict. Let us see if you are correct, Terran. Let us see how this stranger deals with turmoil of the soul.
Violence.
See? They are filled with it.
Yes, we are fighters, but we come from a violent land. We fought off demons, we fought off death, we even fought against the very end of the world.
It is true. They are strong. There is much they can teach us.
Okay, I'm starting to panic. Okay, there we go. How close did I get? Okay, we're fine, we're fine.
We can agree it is noble to fight for a righteous cause, to defend home or family. But what of vengeance? What of anger? I sense these emotions run deep in this one.
Anger is a part of all of us. Yes, but we value control. The orcs were once driven solely by anger. They lived in a state of bloodlust, but they conquered it.
All you seek to conquer is each other.
To live without anger is not to live at all. It is our...
Well spoken, Chief. The strangers from beyond the mists have no shortage of passions. But let us see if they indeed control them. Beyond the anger lies hatred, the wellspring of all misery. What is this? Your hatred has a face.
That...
See how these outsiders hate one another. They wear their hatred to battle and carry it to their graves.
No. No, that's not true. There is so much more to us than this.
How interesting. They bring much to our land, but they also bring the shadow of war.
Peace will come. I swear it. And old hatreds will go away. You have to believe me.
Oh.
This one has indeed proven mastery over anger. Between the young cub's words and the actions of this hero, I think I understand. Those from beyond the mists are hardened by battle. They are scarred, yes, but they have learned much. I trust them.
You are making a terrible mistake.
It is decided. The Veil of Eternal Blossoms shall remain open. The transgressions of the outsiders have been great, but I see in them the capability to right what has been wrong.
Thank you, Master White Tiger. You will see. I believe that my people and the Horde are essentially good.
I will consult the others. Meet me at the gates.
This is an interesting quest if you play a Pandaren, by the way.
I find your fate inspiring, little one. But I wonder if you have ever met our war chief.
Also, this goes very slightly differently if you are Horde. If you're Horde, the vision that pops up is Varian. And Anduin's response to that is, oh my gosh, that's my father. And like, he sounds genuinely shocked by it. And yeah, it is nice to see an Alliance person who isn't a complete warhawk. I know that sounds weird, but if you pay attention, there's not many of them. At least not at this point in the story. Like, we had the one guy who was cool back in the South Barrens. You know, the one we assassinated. And I'm sure there's others.
There's work to be done here.
You did it. The White Tiger has agreed to allow us to accompany the Pandaren into the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. An Alliance outpost is already set up within. Now the hard work of cleaning up the damage can begin.
See you soon. Keep your guard up.
Also, naturally, who's the Horde representative here? Desco. Someone who's barely a part of the Horde. In fact, I think technically is not a member of Hellscream's forces. Yeah, as I say, in much more modern storytelling, we got plenty of non-Warhawks. But at this era?
Time is money, friend. Keep it real.
Grab that for later. Poor Desco. Yep, and it never will, Magister. Well, you know, honestly, most of the Warhawks probably died. There were 2 world wars. You don't call them that, but that's what they were.
There's more to this land than meets the eye.
Children of Pandaria, the mists have fallen. For good or for ill, our land is open to all. Let us draw ourselves together to rebuild this sacred place, the first step toward healing a war-torn world.
These outsiders have brought chaos to this land. Can we trust them to set it right?
I have faith in our friends from beyond the mists.
Their strength is an inspiration, and sorely needed. We must trust that their hearts are pure.
Now, most of this doesn't work this way. In fact, I'm not even going to properly show you the Vale here. But, like, as you go through here, the NPCs are actually walking, and as you make the steps, ignore all that, as you make the trip over here, you'd see refugees walking over towards the respective capitals. While we're here, we are going to review the capital of Pandaria, for there is only one. These 2 buildings are mirrored from each other, but are so close to be identical as to functionally be identical. Zoop. If you're paying attention, yes, this is Mogu architecture. So these are old Mogu temples here. So first of all, there's this guy. He gives you cyclonic inspiration, which makes you run faster when in here, because there's no mounts allowed in here. Surprising little decision, but I'm kind of with it. I should also mention, these are some of the smallest capital cities we've ever seen. Even Dalaran, which is minuscule, is nothing. You have already seen half of this place. That's not a joke. Over here's our portal room. It used to be a full portal room, now it just goes to the capital cities, Stormwind and Orgrimmar, respectively. Down here is where the time walking, I mean, the crafting stuff all is. Wink, wink. Might as well go even faster. Over here is a couple of other vendors, and honestly, mostly just kind of fun little stuff for flavor. And up here is where you get your set armor. Or used to get your set armor. You don't have to do this anymore. And bank. And that's it. That's the whole place. Actually, yeah, Ismario Star. So allow me to go ahead and go out of against the grain here and say that I actually really like this from a gameplay perspective. I'm more used to the Horde, but on the Horde, I think it's just the other side over there. You hearth, like, right here. The portal is right there, and everything else is right across the hall. Everything is very efficient, very quick, and easy to grab, and they literally give you a run buff to help you with it. Plus the hub design. I don't know what these places are called. Shrine. And yeah, the Horde side is pretty much the same. It's just flipped. It's mirror imaged. Visually, unfortunately, I've already given positives for what is effectively this exact same visual architecture, so I can't really double up on that. Because, like I said, this is Mogul architecture. What I can give positives for is doodads. There is a lot of detail here, even as you see me just kind of walking through here at a relatively slow pace. Oh yeah, transmogger, by the way. You can probably tell how much attention to detail is everywhere. Just absolutely everywhere. Medical supplies, places where people can put out their boots. There's freaking catheters, for God's sakes. We've got boxes, we've got scrolls, we've got the little mecha area over here because we want to make a freaking motorcycle out of a shark, because of course we do. We've got plants, we've got barrels, we've got goods for sale and herbalism on display. We've got calipers and scrolls and ink and jewelry and paint and smithies and forges and just giant piles of ingots for use in making new things. And barrels of supplies and leatherworking. And nice scrolls with candles on them and pens and stamps all visible. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's doodads. There's doodads. There's good doodads. I don't know what you want from me. Moving on. I don't even show outside. There's even more stuff out here. For example, do you like Hearthstone? No, you don't. Don't lie to me. But if you do, you can play Hearthstone right here. Fresh reminder, Hearthstone is actually in lore. Hearthstone is an in-universe game that the characters and races of WoW play. I love how there's mixtures of, like, Gnome and Night Elf and Gilnean stuff all over the place here. Not as much over here. This is where all those rep vendors are. Oh, you're doing all the dailies every day, right? All, like, 32 of them, or whatever the insane number was. Also, a small but interesting tidbit. The Night Elves are the ones who are the most militantly aligned here. Probably because they're the only Alliance force that came here in force. Similarly, on the other side, the majority of those forces are Desco's people, the Sunwalkers. Go figure. And yeah, Desco himself is here along with Lyalia. Right. There she is. I was gonna say, where the hell is she? She's even got a quest for me. In fact, she has both the 5.1 and the 5.2 quests for me.
Be careful.
And yeah, we don't see much of her after this, so I think she just retired to Pandaria, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. Hi, Bragman. So you're probably wondering what all this is. I'm not going to explain this yet. In fact, I'm not going to explain this for a couple of days. Enjoy. Where is it? There it is. There's Desco. See? What? The guy desperately trying to kill me. That's Desco. Come on, Desco. I thought you'd be cool. Alright. Now we only have one quest chain left in Kun-Lai. Let's see what we can do with it, shall we? Get to the shopper! I mean, I gotta be real. Especially someone who is a veteran of the Hellscream War, who goes to Pandaria. Wouldn't you want to retire here? Especially if you want to, you know, make up for the damage that your people did. Not in Kun-Lai, in Pandaria, in general.
You have the eyes of one who has traveled much.
We're here to save you and help you. We're from the Alliance. We're here to rescue. Aren't you pretty short for a Worgen? Now, that sounds like a joke, but actually, most of the Worgen are considerably taller than the playable Worgen, so...
Speak up.
The Yongle. They attacked my farm and the nearby village. Killed some of us, and the ones they didn't try to kill, or they chased off. Don't worry, I'm here from the Alliance.
Enough of that.
I don't know about this Alliance, but you look trustworthy. Do I look trustworthy? Do I? Getting there. I need to get more of this suit so I can make like a full-on steampunk Worgen set.
What wisdom do you seek?
Well, we are alive. That's better than we could have hoped for without your help, but if this is true to become a base of operations for you, and if we must join your alliance, you must do something to, you know, guarantee our security.
May the Red Crane...
The Yongle have always been a difficult and proud people, but never this violent or aggressive. I don't know what's prompted this change in their behavior. We don't have time to find out. We fear for our lives and our livelihoods as long as Ur-Batar lives. Go set the banner in his camp ablaze to challenge them, and then defeat him.
May you find mastery in your passion.
Listen, I may be a good dog, but I'm no Rush. Rush is the goodest of all dogs. Everyone in chat, who's Rush? And you just made me sad. Get some combo points going here while I wait. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's hit some real buttons. Down you go. Yes, Yura. At least at the moment. Keeping in mind there's 3 classes I haven't poked at, like, at all. Oh, excuse me.
You have the eyes of one who has traveled much.
Ah, you did it. At the very least, we have justice and safety. Though in the process, we have lost so much. Regardless, it's been decided. We will join your alliance and with your help rebuild this village.
Family, friends.
Look, technically, Wrecker's beard. I know that's hard to understand, but I wanted to say it in the original Murloc-ish. It just loses too much in translation. Come on, Captain Taylor. Technically, yep, time to bring the war to Kun-Lai. Although this doesn't bother me as much as the Jade Forest. You know why? Because we don't actually war with the Horde here. No, I'm serious.
Another job well done, friend. You should see if Mishka and Sully need you.
Like, both the Alliance and the Horde. In fact, I believe we're on the layer now where I could show you. Yep, there it is. You can actually see, because both these happened canonically. So, Nazgrim and his people set up this camp over here. Right? The Horde camp. We set up the Alliance camp, you can tell because they're blue and red. And then we just go and we deal with local problems. We don't fight each other, like, at all. I'm not even sure we fight each other during 5.1.
Adversity, our constant companion.
That's a good question. I'm not sure, Jay Palmer. Mobility is going to be key in maintaining our foothold in this new land. Problem is, there's no way to maintain mobility without mounts, and we don't have any of those, do we? Local yaks. Oh my god, next RTS Warcraft game, we need yak riders. I don't even care. Make it happen, Blizzard.
The soldier's duty is
I want my yak cavalry. Yeah, no, this is, weirdly enough, a diplomatic mission. We're here to recruit, but the way we do that is by actually helping people. If you're paying attention, that's the exact opposite of what we did in the Jane Forest, where we press-ganged them into our war by forcing them into fighting each other. Basically, in the Jade Forest, we stoked their fires of hatred against each other and escalated a conflict that didn't even need to exist in the first place. Here, we help these people, most especially against the universally third-party threat that's showing up, and that's the Yongle, and some Mogu.
Until next time.
I escaped from Farmer Chow's to the southeast of here. It's been taken over by the Yongle, but the old man and his wife just won't give up. Go and help them out. Maybe if you do, he'd be willing to send some people down here and help you guys farm up some food for the new town.
White Tiger watch over.
Done, Huthor. But you have to fix Vashir. That's your job entry. Like, once I take over the world, all right, Mr. Red, I'm going to give you the job you want. It's going to be perfect. It's going to pay well. But you need to make the FF14 highlight reel, and it has to be good. And I'll look at Huthor and I'm like, all right, Huthor, here you go. You're going to figure this out. I'm going to give you this great job, but you need to fix Vashir. And then I'll go to Bragwin and I'm like, all right, Bragwin. I can't finish that joke in polite company. All right,
Of your travels.
the name of this quest is Mogu? Oh, Nogu? I know your friends are worried about the animated statues at Mogugia, but I'll tell you what you should really be worried about. Where there are animated statues, there are Mogu. I don't know if you've seen one before, but if you haven't, well, the Mogu are bad news. While you're dealing with whatever else you're dealing with, go deal with the Mogu.
Slow down. Life is to be...
Oh, we need to get some food if we're to survive here for long. You may not know it, but I'm something of a cook myself, so why don't you go out and fetch me some meaty bits? I can cook them up and feed us for weeks. Or days, at least.
What do you need?
Can you repeat that?
The Admiral's asked me to take care of a major problem, but my specialty is healing, not fighting. Oh, by the way, she has glasses on. Because they want her to be even more sexy than possible. Also, she has bloody hands. Because they wanted her to be even more sexy than possible. The Pandaren at the camp here have told me that something is animating the statues to the northeast. Will you help me out? We can't afford to fight an army of statues right now.
Greetings.
Oh. There was one I saw recently which was recommended to me. And it was for an AI-generated take on the Wrathgate. And I was just... It didn't look good. Let me go ahead and start by saying that. But that's kind of against the point, you know? I kind of don't care if it looks good or not. That's not really my issue with AI-generated crap. Look, I love theft-based scraping software as much as the next guy. Or the opposite of hate, whatever that's called. Oh god. Yeah, there's also one about, like, blood elves in Eversong. And it's just, it's the worst kind of creepy and looks like it was actually trained on porn. And not in whatever you're thinking. You're probably thinking, ooh, but no, no. It's weird and gross. I have got some bad news, Rackersbeard. The good news, and I mean this with actual sincerity. So, the biggest threat about AI has always been, you know, the biggest defense, excuse me, is don't worry, we can always tell when it's AI. But then AI started getting better. It's like, oh crap, now what? Because the more accurate AI is, the worse it is, because misinformation is already a huge issue in our current society, right? Well, good news. AI is basically not going to get any better from now on. It's kind of plateaued. There were several huge lurches forward in quality, which leads us where we're at right now. But the problem is, the AI scrapers have run out of material. They no longer have any information to pull from that they haven't already pulled from. It's worth noting a lot of those AI bots all use the same resources, too. They use the same, I forget what the term is, but bundle of info that they're training it on, right? So, exactly, Huthor. AI did get substantially better, very fast. But even if it wasn't scraping on AI-generated stuff, which it is, it's worth noting, it would plateau immediately. Now, AI is scraping off of AI-generated stuff, and it's already starting to get worse. That's ignoring the hallucination problem, which, by the way, is also getting worse. And allow me to be very clear, that's a good thing. I don't know what you're talking about, Creamy. AI is the best thing ever. And I agree with everything it says forever. But if I could stop joking for just a second. Fuck AI. And that's my opinion in a nutshell. Now back to joking. Yes, that's right. AI, I don't know if anybody knows this. AI is actually being propagated by Murlocs. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Well, I mean, obviously the jailer's behind Murlocs. Therefore, the jailer, by definition, is behind AI. Listen, I'm not saying that half of my chat are secretly Murloc bots, but... I see half of you knew what I just said. That's the problem. And by problem, I mean awesome. So the opposite of a problem. No, not your mother, Asmirstar. Huthor's mother. I'm sorry, when I should have... My bad, I apologize. I'm out of practice, you know. I'm too used to this filthy human speech. Ugh. I'm still zooming out. It's such a habit to zoom out. It's okay, Magister. Accept it. Listen, not everyone can speak Murglish with the kind of skill and prowess that Asmiristar can. I'm actually not very versed in Murglish, but you know, I can kind of speak it. You know, it's like I took a Duolingo class. You know, let's do it like 10 minutes every day, something like that. I mean, I don't want to go for the jugular of this either, but there are plenty of valid uses for AI, just like there's plenty of valid uses for dynamite. That's not the problem I have. Yeah, heroin, actually, that's another great example of that. A lot of people tend to forget that opioids are intended as a healing thing. and are actually pretty good at it. Sure. Luther, what do you got for me? Okay, is that everything? That's everything. What am I in combat with? Alright, who's in combat with me? Is it Yura? Yura, are you in combat with me? I actually don't know anything about Duolingo, so I can't speak to it. I just picked the first random go learn a language thing I could think of off the top of my head. Wait, they're coming for me. The AI bots are coming for me. When I vanish, you will know what happened. And no one will notice because I'll be replaced by a bot. Oh my god. Guys, I'm going to start AIing my own streams. All I have to do is train an AI on my voice. Again. I like to say that I'm too stupid to learn a second language, but in reality land, I know it's not like that. I just don't have time, and that's the harsh reality. Yep, I'm going to make an AI version of myself that reaction streams to people. So it's like theft-based art based off of theft-based art. What's up with the short dark being interjected before the LGAs? Very good question. So you may not know this, but I put together footage for the LGAs because, unlike the Video Game Awards, I actually give a crap. And so I kind of need time to do that. I can't just magic edited footage into existence for those. And especially since I usually capture my own footage, so that means I have to install a game, get to a point where I can actually grab the footage, make sure I have appropriate music playing for it, set the recording, time the recording, line it up, organize it. There's all kinds of crap I have to do under the hood. So that's actually what that short dark is for. It's just going to be setting up for the LGAs.
You are most welcome.
Oh, thank goodness. You saved all our skins, believe me. You have no idea how much trouble those Mogu can stir up. Well, I guess you do. Imagine that, but worse, and for a couple thousand years.
Family, friends, food. These are what...
No, I found a side thing for Starfield.
You got something that needs fixing?
You got me, mate?
I get the right tool for the job.
Ah, good work. I'm telling you, these Kun-Lai meaty beats are great, eh? Goodness.
You got something to report?
Oh, man, look at all that. That looks so gross. Oh, God. Okay, we're gonna leave.
How can I help you?
All right. Looks like we don't have a bunch of statues to worry about. Good work.
Can I help you?
Good to see you, friend. Another job well done, friend. You should see if Mishka and Sully need you. We mustn't fail.
Oh, there it is.
Tell me of your travels.
You're a sight for sore eyes. I'll be glad to help you Alliance fellows out. First, though, you need to help me get my farm back.
Slow down. Life is to be savored.
Those Ordo Yongle are working my farm hands to death. It just ain't right. Please save them before it's too late.
May you find mastery in your passions.
Sure, I'm willing to help you guys out, but we need to eat too, and I don't even have a pot to cook in, let alone ingredients. Here's a list of things I need. Now go get.
The world is your teacher.
See you around, J. Palmer. Have good studying. Uh-oh. Anytime Huthor says, by the way. Oh, you finished it? Grats. I still haven't, but I will. because it's not going away. They confirmed that in a post just yesterday, I want to say. Or no, 2 days ago, excuse me. It's Monday now. We're pretty far in that chain ourselves. We'll get there. The name of that mob just now was Wascui Vermin. I just want you to know that. Oh, that's funny, Bithor. Okay, I need my camera. I don't think I'd make a Yongle, other than just for completion's sake. That's an interesting question. We all know the races we'd really like to have. What's a race that you would still enjoy having, but like the least amount? Like the race that is the least interesting to you to play, that is still interesting to play. Naga. I find that funny because Naga are pretty much at the top of my list. Maybe second. No, third, I'd say. Ogre at the number 2 slot. No, like any race that's made playable, right? Like you're given an option to make a race playable. Well, if you wouldn't roll one, then it doesn't count. It has to be something you would actually make. See, I have no interest in a furbog, so I wouldn't make a furbog. Excuse me 1 second. Ugh. I always knew you were Legistira. Okay.
You have the eyes of one who has traveled much.
Now, ain't you just the thing? Although I guess it's not fair to force these here workers to stay with us now we don't have work for them. You have everything from the list? Oh, there you go. Should be plenty good now. Well, as far as I figure, we got a lot of rebuilding to do. I'm not one for joining any big causes, but my farm hands aren't going to have much to do around here, to be honest. And since you helped them out, they want to join your alliance. So who am I to stop them? Bring them with you back to the farmhand bow. I'll miss them, but they're better off with you. Okay, the RTS mission continues. We have gotten workers, and we have gotten food. Oh, and mounts.
What wisdom do you seek?
Look, I know the Alliance needs recruits. Yeah, now we need to recruit soldiers next. and there's just not enough of us here right now to make a fighting presence of this town. But I know the Yongle at Fire Camp Ordo have taken many of our people as prisoners. And I also know if you'd be willing to rescue them, they'd more than likely be willing to join you.
May the Red Crane live forever in...
Oh, well, now let's have some fun. Those Ordo Yongle to the northwest have saved us the trouble of having to make bombs. We already have them there. Let's just put their explosive barrels to a bit better use, huh?
What do you need?
I do like exploding barrels. As long as they're red.
The Alliance shall prevail. Another job well done.
Please shut up, Taylor.
You should see if Mishka and Sully...
The Yongle of Fire Camp Ordo are a dire threat. I need you to head northwest and take out their leader. Unfortunately, his four subordinates are maintaining a fire barrier that prevents us from getting to his cave. Take them out and the shield comes down. Yeah, hell, I could probably afford 15k if I've... At least on the NA servers, obviously. I can't help you on the European servers. Let's see. Can I help you? Apparently not. I'm trying to think of a playable race I would roll, but I don't really have a lot of interest in. Very cool, Rector's Beard. Maybe... See, most of the races that have been posited, I just have no interest in. Like Yongle, eh. Reichel, eh. Dark Trolls, eh. Or how about those new, Ascendeds? Eh. No interest there either at all. In fact, I have negative interest in that. Wildhammer dwarves? I think I have enough dwarves as is, thanks. Now, I'd make an iron dwarf. Goblins are playable, Chill Pangolin. I actually played a huge chunk of Cataclysm on a goblin. Her name is Autodumia. Troll group I actually have interest in. I mean, at this point, any other troll tribe is just a slightly cosmetic variant on the existing trolls we have. So, I wouldn't mind some, Faraki or Drakari customization for a troll. But, like, what else are they going to do with that? Okay, fine. If you really, really want to die, I will oblige you. I guess there are forest trolls, but forest trolls have older models at this point. And granted, we could assume they're going to update those models. But either way, no interest. I already have a Zandalari and a troll, a Darkspear. It's jungle. Murloc. See, the problem is, if they let me make a Murloc Paladin, I'm making one day 1. Because that sounds awesome to me. Because I'm terrible. But yeah, the idea here is it has to be a race you're sufficiently interested in that you'd actually make in level 1. But it's like the least interesting of those races. Not something you'd be like, hell yeah! But just something that, yeah, okay, sure. God, Finduin. I could see Null. I'd be too excited about playing a Kobold, especially right now. Oh yeah, by the way, did I mention that all of the Yongle are dark shamans? That concept keeps popping out. I think it'll be all of the positives, every single one of them.
I get the right tool for the job.
Oh, that was a fine sight to see. No, I should have gone up there with you.
You got something that needs fixing?
By the way, you probably haven't even noticed, but every time you come back here, there's more Pandarans, and the base is more fleshed out. It's a nice bit of visual storytelling.
This land tests us, friend. Remember.
Wolfid isn't our hero. I really wasn't sure we stood a fighting chance. These guys may be a little rough around the edges, but we will whip into shape. And when we do, we'll have a fighting chance at holding our own in Kun-Lai.
We mustn't fail.
For the Alliance.
The Alliance must prevail.
Our new recruits have spoken in hushed tones about a group they call the Shadow Path. They're apparently very strong and secretive. That's where you come in. And rumor has it they have a base of operations here, near here.
We mustn't fail.
Okay.
You are most welcome. Family.
Well, that's an unusual vector quest and a very unnecessary one, but we'll go ahead and do that. What? Nope, I read that correctly. Hang on. Here we are, right? They have a base to the southeast. Okay, what's southeast of here? That over there. However, if you go southwest, that's one of the extremely few mistakes in directions I've seen in this game. In fact, it's the first one I've seen this review series. Hello? Ah, there we go. Hi. Nice place.
We are the Watchers on the wall.
Who are you? Can you fight? If so, we could use your help.
Watch the shadows.
Our true enemies are the Shah, not the Ungol. The Shah are emotion manifest, destructive, yes, but undisciplined. Undisciplined force cannot last. The flood in dispersion loses its force. The wildfire burns its fuel. And discipline and wisdom can turn their destructive energy against themselves. Bring me the essences of the Shah. I will explain further.
We serve so others do not have to.
I sent for reinforcements from the monastery, and I've heard nothing back. We've already lost the town. A few lucky villagers have survived, but we are pinned down here. We do not have time to entertain strangers. If you can fight, help my men. If not, leave.
Beware the western wind.
One allied race from each continent. Okay. No, not per faction. Any new allied race can be playable on all factions. We're just going to make that a rule. Forever. No factions! There hasn't been factions in years. Not since Shadowlands. Arguably not since the last patch of BFA. There's no factions. Okay. So let's start with BC, actually. Honestly, I'm going to go with Broken. I admit I have no interest in a Broken personally, but I know a lot of people who do. And it's kind of an obvious choice, really. Frankly, it's a little bit weird they haven't done that yet. So we'll go with Broken from Outland. We move on to Wrath, Northrend. Earthen! I'm joking. I know what I want to pick from Northrend, but I'm debating if there's anything I want more than it. See, I was thinking about Nerubians, but I can pick Nerubians in another continent. Yeah. It just keeps increasing, doesn't it? Wow. I'm gonna pick Iron Dwarves for Northrend. Tonka are barely different. In fact, Tonka females are literally no different than Tauren at all. And I know we already have the High Mountain, but come on. But Iron Dwarves are cool. Iron Dwarves are cool. They'd have to be fleshed out more like this. Pretty much exactly the same way the Earthen were. I mean, the Earthen are based off of the Dwarven model, but anybody who's played an Earthen knows those are pretty well fleshed out at this point. That's not really the same thing. I admit my second pick would be Vrykul. So, Iron Dwarves or Vrykul, one of those two. So let's move on to Kalimdor. Kalimdor's huge and gives me lots and lots of options. Which, consequently, I'm going to go ahead and spend on... I'm thinking Centaur. Which then leaves me with the Eastern Kingdom. So, you know, that's another direction we could go with there. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Naga for the Eastern Kingdoms. That's a pretty easy pick there, too. So now, Pandaria. Getting a little trickier. My first knee-jerk thought is Hosen. But not for the jokes and not for the memes. I legitimately think Hosen are fascinating. And they could do some interesting stuff with them. Like, imagine Hosen... Like, it's been years since Pandaria in lore. Imagine if there's an honest-to-God Hosen school that exists now. And, like, Hosen that have lived past 20 and have actually passed adolescence. I find that whole concept fascinating. I think they could do a lot with that. But yeah, it would be the Hosen or the Jinyu. Those are the very obvious choices there. Yeah, the starting zone is the school, exactly. Yeah, 21-year-old elders.
Greetings.
Can't believe you made it here. I don't know how much longer I could have stayed hidden. I'm sure there's others. We have to rescue them. We can go back to the fallback. The master will know what to do.
Farewell.
See ya, warlords. Arakoa. There's only one other choice for the warlords, and that's ogres. But we can pick ogres anywhere. Ogres are all over the place. Yeah, Arakoa. Easy answer. Moving on. Legion. If anybody says High Mountain, I'm banning you on the spot. I get that it was a test thing, but God, they're just one of the worst. In fact, both of the worst allied races come from Legion. I was actually thinking one of the demon races, but the problem is which one? There are several. We could also double dip and save Vrykul for Legion. That way we have both Vrykul and Iron Dwarves.
You are most welcome.
Yes, please escort me out of here, old lady Foon. Faldir. See, the problem is the actual perfect choice for Legion are the Nightborn. But you know, we did that.
What wisdom do you seek?
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Yah Firebow, illustrious leader of this formerly magnificent hamlet. Clearly you are an upstanding citizen of the world. I was wondering if I could trouble you to help me out of this rather sticky situation. I'm sure in the Shadow Pan at the nearby retreat would be more than happy to recompense you. Yeah, okay, come on, let's go.
May you find mastery in your passions.
Silverfur, was it? There'll be a few extra gold for you if you can personally guarantee my safety. I agree, the Nightborn should have been neutral. As much as I find it very in character that Tyrande is horrifically bad as diplomacy, because she always has been, that's no reason the Nightborn couldn't have reached out to the rest of the Alliance and been a joint race, you know?
What is it? The wall.
Have you harvested their essence?
We
Good. Now you'll see how to defeat unbridled rage. I will craft these into a trap for Kobai, leader of the Yongle. Though he will be snared and we will defeat him, he is not our actual target.
The wall must stand.
You have bought us some time to breathe. We must not despair. Instead, we must act.
Watch the shadows.
We didn't know there were any survivors out there. Thank you for bringing them to safety.
Beware the
You're
western
welcome.
wind.
That guy's leaking beer. Could you tell him to quit that, please? Simply killing Kobai will accomplish nothing. He is possessed by a particularly powerful and destructive Shah. You will use the trap I have fashioned from the blinding rage essences you brought. Lure him into the trap and steal his mask. Once you put it on, malevolent fury will appear and attempt to take control of you.
The wall must stand.
You have faith in me resisting this, right? I'm not a huge fan of Void Elves. I'm not against them either, obviously, since I literally made one. That's Gailota. Whoops. Okay. Hang on, I'm not actually done with Legion. I haven't come up with something to my satisfaction for Legion yet. Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. We could move the Broken to Outland, or to Legion, and then we could pick Ogres for Outland. And have our cake and eat it too. That's not a bad idea.
Pandaria conceals a great darkness.
I should feel shame at the loss of the village. I should feel pride at your success. I should feel many things, but I must not allow myself to. Until our struggle with the Shah is complete, we must remain complete control of our emotions.
Beware the western wind.
To battle the Shah is eternal. We cannot leave this place, but I'm troubled by the absence of reinforcements from the monastery. We sent for them days ago. You have performed admirably. Perhaps you could travel to Winter's Blossom, our base camp. Speak with Lynn Silent Strike. He should know what's happening.
We serve so others do not have to.
Okay, so I feel satisfied with that. So ogres, and then Crocool. So now we move on to BFA. Mechanomes! No, I'm joking. Who would want to roll a Mechanome? God.
We must not falter.
Shadowmaster Chong sent you, huh? Yes, we received his request for reinforcements. We are in no position to grant it, however. We've just concluded a battle of our own, and the monastery's been locked up tight. We can't even get reinforcements hill. They're just down the hill.
Watch the shadows.
If Master Chong trusted you, maybe you can help us. The Ungol are our enemies. Still, we must prove to be better than them. We must honor them in death. As after most battles, the carrion birds have begun to gather. Thin their numbers so the bodies of our foes will not be desecrated.
We serve so others do not have.
But their food. Friends, family, food? Hello?
It is best to be prepared.
When we regrouped after the initial attack, we numbered 3 less. You can fight, and we must plan our defense. If you would help, grant us our fallen comrades their final rights, and recover their armor. And try to keep the birds off of them.
Goodbye.
So, yeah, honestly, Sethrak is a really obvious pick for me.
Shadows. Beware the western wind.
The Kathir. I don't know. Sethrak are really tempting. I happen to know quite a few people who really want to play Sethrak. Now, that's a lot of corpses. Look at all these corpses. The only downside of the Sethrak is they're kind of the obvious choice, you know? Everybody wanted to Sethrak. I actually honestly thought we were going to get Sethrak, because they had pretty advanced models. And that's usually an indicator of when we're going to get into a race, is when the model is sufficiently detailed to have animations and emotes and stuff. So, really quick, sorry to talk about the actual game we're playing for a second here, but you notice there are dozens and dozens of Yongle bodies here piled up and burning? It helps sell the scale of how much of the battle is going on over here. The important part is this is the front bastion of the line, right? So let's go ahead and scooch over here for a second. Because if you notice over here, there's not... Hi, ISE. 1 second, please. There's not a lot of other ingresses. You see how this is just solid wall? So where did these Yongle come from? The answer's obvious. Either they came right over, but since there's no sign of that, they probably came through the initial ingress. Yeah, this area is a gargantuan bottleneck. So we get a bit of visual storytelling of what happened without anybody actually calling it out to us. A huge Yongle attack attacked that gate we were just at. Some of them got through and knocked over this village. And then far less got through and started attacking the plains and burned those villages. And then the outermost edges, at this point there's hardly any Yongle left who've made it this far east, made it all the way out to Beanon Village, all the way at the eastern edge. And that's where we first encounter them. was their initial attack during the Blue Moon Festival. You remember that? So there's this kind of filter and straining thing going as we go from east to west, as we see more and more of their actual central attack force and how they've been filtering into the area. It also says a lot about the sheer quantity of Yongle that have been invading, that many got through at all, based on how hard the Shadowpan are holding them here. One moment, please. Okay. Thank you, I see. As always. I'll go ahead and write that down. Let's see here. Is that the same as your patronage earlier? Cyberpunk, Talos Principle 2, and Dungeon 3. Yep, so I'm just going to tack that onto your patronage. Go away, bird. Nobody likes you. I'm having a good stream. I hope other people are too. I know I'm streaming the most boring game in the known universe, but... Right, I need to have the camera up here. It's so hard to keep the camera up here. Brokers. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Sethrak. I know, but come on. So, Sethrak for BFA. Shadowlands. Now, before I just go with, you know, the brokers... Let me think about Shadowlands for a second. Because, yeah, we have a lot of options for Shadowlands. Nothing. You're absolutely nothing. Why would you ever play this terrible, terrible game? The only reason people play this game is they like to play with their friends. Yeah, no, Shadowlands has a lot of unique species in it. And pretty much all of them haven't been seen outside of it. I have to admit, the idea of playing a winged angel-looking thing is cool, but I agree that the brokers are just a better choice, bar none. Venthyr would probably be my second pick, after brokers. Brokers are really cool. And kind of unique. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with brokers. So, Dragonflight. We could bring Tuskar in with Dragonflight. They've rotated back around into relevance. We've also got Gnolls in Dragonflight, and they actually do something with them. We could also bring in Centaur here, although that would leave us an empty slot over in Kalimdor. And the Niffin. Yeah, another really good pick. Admittedly, Tuskar are just way too good for me not to pick. You know, I'm not actually sure, Lineruth. Really. I've always sort of mentally presumed it's just a preference thing. You know, some people like their bodies, some people don't care. We know there's at least a little bit of prestige in having built a better body in Maldraxxus, so maybe that's part of it? I don't know. Well, assume for a moment that you could make a Maruk Centaur if you can make a Centaur at all, right? Like, you're not making an Ironforged dwarf, you're making a dwarf. Same vibe. We could move ogres over to Kalimdor, which leaves us an Outland slot. And yeah, we could use Ethereals instead. So, Ogres for Kalimdor, Centaurs for Dragonflight, and then Ethereals for Outland. Problem is, I'd rather have Tuskar, honestly. Niffin are cool and all, but like, Tuskar, man, come on. Tuskar are legit.
Conceals a great darkness. Watch the shadows. We meet again. Be well. We are the souls.
They're attacking again. Archers, on the walls! I need you up there. My wife Suna went to scout the wall with that fool Lao Chen. Perhaps if you'd spent more time preparing defenses and less time building that ridiculous ale lift contraption. It matters not. Get a kite.
The wall must stand.
You know what I'd pick for More Within. It's something I've been saving since Wrath. I know exactly what I'd pick for War Within. A sure sign of a happy lore runner? Energy. If I'm talking a lot and I'm talking with a lot of energy, I'm doing well. If I'm not, I'm probably tired.
Words will not end this war.
Oh, that's quite a bit of kite flying. Good job getting in here and not dying. It's good you're here too. Lao Chen's got an idea he's working with, but in the meantime we have Yongle.
We must be victorious.
Yongle and the wall are providing covering fire for the ones below. I don't know what Lao Chen is thinking, but I want you to deal with the archers.
Farewell.
Crush these invaders and hurl them from the wall!
She's awfully mad for some reason. I have an idea, and I'm prepared to make a terrible sacrifice. As much as I know we need my stout brew to fortify our defenders, it's too painful to discuss. But please, while you're up here, gather the barrels of oil. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything, isn't it? Oh, excuse me. Half-elves! I've got it! Alright, Bachelor's dead. I mean, no, I would not reign 36. Which one, Yura? Yeah, we picked Brokers for Shadowlands. I'll go ahead and catch you up, Fife. So we did Brokers for Shadowlands, and then Huskar for Dragonflight, and then the obvious for War Within. Oop. Goodbye. Wait, a quest by itself over-leveled you? Wow. That's kind of weird, honestly. What is this, WoW? I actually have not, Disco.
Yeah?
Do you have the oil?
See you.
Alright, I'm off to prepare our next move. Good luck, friend.
Mm-hmm.
We should attack.
2 parts oil to 1 part brew. No, it will need more oil.
Okay.
Courage guide you.
Alright, thanks to you, we have the wall under control. Good job. I'll stay up here a little while longer to make sure no more Yang will get over the wall. You, though, should go back down into it Lao Chen is cooked up. I hate to say it, but maybe it's a good idea after all.
Stay alert.
Oh, for God's sakes. Okay, it is now dinner time. I can hear them calling for dinner.
Action speaks louder than words.
I suppose we'll go ahead and pause here, then. That means tomorrow, pretty much right at the beginning, I'm going to be needing a group for doing a dungeon. So, if I could get said group, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for the conclusion of Kun-Lai.